3 series of competition, 8 teams land in Berlin for the first ever Game Changers World Championship. Hello everyone and welcome, and I hope you are ready for the next 6 days of clutches and awesome gameplay from some of the world's finest, because they are here and ready to compete. And in the end, one team will cement their name in VCT history and take home the first ever Game Changers trophy. I'm Golden Boy, your host. Of course, welcome and happy to be back here again alongside Kukuka, and I can't do it without Un Gato Malvado. How are you doing?
That's actually pretty good. I thought we were in Berlin.
Yeah, well, you know, they put it in the copy, so I just decided to run with it.
You're really expanding your linguistic skills. It's been kind of a point that you don't speak Spanish, so I'm glad you're finally learning. Your wife will probably be very happy about that.
Thank you so much for pointing that one out, Mimi. Of course, joined by Kukuka. First time I get a chance to work with you.
I'm very happy. Yeah, it's the first time for me with both of you, so I'm very excited. To me, it's an honor to be here because I've had the pleasure to be a part of Game Changers since the first series in EMEA. So seeing the girls here, it really it moves me.
Yeah.
It's so sick to finally have you here for one of these events where I actually get to work a desk with you, and for Game Changers no less. It should be pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's actually jump into this because, you know, for this, Kukuka, what are you most excited about for this particular event?
To me, it's the fact that, first of all, we're making history.
Sure.
Okay, we know that Game Changers, since the moment that it was created, it has a very specific purpose, and I think that having the first international LAN is going to be very special and pivotal for it. And also, is the fact that some of these girls have so much experience, but do not have the LAN experience in VALORANT, and they're coming back to the stage.
Yeah, I know. I think that is going to be the most exciting part too, seeing these players take the stage for the first time. Mimi, what about for you?
For me, I think it's the fact that for practically all the teams in this tournament, besides the NA and EMEA 2 seeds, they have been so dominant pretty much all year long, always winning in their regions, always looking really good while playing here. But now we get our first taste of international competition, and that means these teams that haven't really been tested yet will get that first big test, and we actually get to see how good these squads all are. You have TL Brazil, you have Cloud9, you have G2, all these teams that have been celebrated as being the best of the best, and we get to prove who is.
Yeah. You know, for me, right, I don't really get to like be biased from, because I just love good
I think
VALORANT.
You've been biased at time to time.
Never have I ever. Okay, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Cloud9 White matches up against the world, you know, because there's been a lot of hype.
I thought that you were going to say how Cloud9 just destroys every other region.
Yeah, you know, look,
could
could they slap? Maybe. We'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, all right, well, I had to fit one in there. Let's jump into this, though, because the Game Changers World Championship will be played on patch 5.09. Now, we know that Harbor is not going to be in play, but Mimi, what are going to be the biggest changes in this meta?
Yeah, so for those of you playing in ranks, the changes have been around for a while. We've had these new maps in play, but for the pros, this is the first time they get to compete on them, and that's both the reworks to Pearl and Fracture, respectively, which I do think change up those maps quite significantly. Starting off with Pearl, I think kind of the biggest idea of this was just eliminating a lot of unneeded corners and a lot of 50-50s that make the map pretty hard to play from time to time, and it simplified a lot of that geometry down.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially not only here but also in Fracture. It looks like they want to go for a more open space kind of approach, and just removing those ratty situations where you have to check every single angle and slowing the game so much before going into a site.
And I think it's opened up a lot more possibilities. Fracture, for instance, with the changes we're seeing pretty heavily to the A site there. It means Sands is very different to take. There's a new kind of power position there with going out top heaven. So it's opened a lot up for the pros, and I'm excited to see how they want to play this out, because I believe this is going to be the first VCT tournament to see all this in play.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, you know, we do have some changes to just the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Since we are currently playing, this tournament is going to be playing in 5.09. Also, we have the changes, especially to the initiators. Let's go first with Sky. Her flash now has to be used differently. It's the fact also, first of all, that you cannot destroy it any longer, and also the fact that you have to time it properly, because now instead of having a set duration, depending on how much you stall, it's going to grow from 1 second to over 2. So it removes that possibility of having to pop flash, and actually enables you to play for your team, or to, you know, learn a cheeky spot where you can like stack it and just play around it.
Yeah, you have some slight changes to Reyna coming through. Her Lear lasts a little bit less time, but can blind from any distance now. Same to KO. That right click has gotten significantly worse on his flash. But on top of that, we've also had changes to weapons. The Stinger has gotten a lot better, and that is insane to me, because the Stinger was already insane at Champions.
Yeah, the Stinger was good. We'll see if that comes into play here. I'm sure with the Stinger most definitely will, but we also have a lot of incredible players that are going to be making their debut right here on the VCT World Stage. And for the fans that, they're going to be looking for their new favorite player here, who should players or viewers at home be keeping an eye on for our competitors?
Am I permitted to just go crazy, just bad chest for a second here?
You totally
All
can.
right, I got to talk about Bob, because Bob has been so incredibly insane. I know, a big, big shocker. But she has come into this Cloud9 roster, the Game Changers before last, and immediately has started strong. Before this team, she was playing on the best OCE team, before moving over, playing in a top 20 NA squad with the Sonics, and now on Cloud9, she has picked up where she has left off. She is one of the absolute best scout initiator players. She plays the off sometimes on these roles. She's just such a fun player to watch.
I will get the specific stat for later, but I think that her success rate, like the success rate of the team when she is alive, is so much higher. The fact that when Bob is out of the equation, if you manage to take this one player out of it, your chances of getting the round is going to be so much easier for you. So I agree. I know maybe that you love talking about C9Y, but I have to talk about someone else.
Ooh,
okay.
Who do you have?
For me, I'm going to pick Bastarda.
Oh, okay.
And I have many reasons to do so. First of all, it's going to be like her name actually comes from the movie Inglourious Basterds. She really liked it, and she decided, no one's going to call themselves a bastard, so she decided to go for it. We're talking about one of the first Radiants in the world. She was like, I'm going to create content, but actually, when some people approach her, she wanted to compete, and she wanted to compete with who she considered to be the best in the world, the Brazilian girls. She learned from scratch. She started DMing them with a translator, and she knew that she had what it takes to not only learn the language, but play with the girls and perform the way that she has been doing it.
And she has fit in so well. It's the only non-Brazilian player on this team in a team named TL Brazil. I mean, the community still loves her. She is so respectful, so understanding, has really bridged that gap between LATAM and Brazil. And on top of that, she is the absolute star of this Team Liquid squad.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we went in for Cloud9 Wide, a little bit for Team Liquid Brazil, but I feel remiss. We don't have any EMEA love. Who should we be talking about, from the EMEA region?
I would personally pick Giuliano.
Okay.
I think that she's an icon, okay? She's an icon. The way that she IGL, she DPS, all the career that she has, all the years behind her. It doesn't matter what kind of performance we get from G2, especially in this last series where they actually were not the winners. Giuliano is always put in on the numbers.
Yeah, something like 15 years of FPS experience behind her. One of the parts is this very experienced G2 core. And on top of playing the dive and being absolutely excellent on that duelist role and playing Reyna of all things, she's also the IGL for this team and makes really intelligent calls.
Absolutely incredible to see what, someone like Giuliano, right, a veteran, a legend, could bring to the table here. And it's going to make G2 into a threat. Even though they're not coming into the first seed, we know that this team is very scary.
Yeah, of course, because we have to mention, obviously, this is a LAN, and for so many players, it is the first time. For some of them, it's coming back. When I was talking to the G2 girls around the hotel, they were so excited. Some people are very nervous, being like, I don't know how I'm going to perform. They cannot wait to go back.
Yeah, it's going to be so exciting. We are going to be seeing them a little bit later. But look, on Sunday, we're going to be crowning our first ever Game Changers World Champion. Not regional, folks. World Champion.
That sounds good.
That's quite nice. It's got a good ring to it. But it's been a long journey for these 8 hopefuls. And, one of my favorite cheeky mates, she's going to hate me for saying that, Lauren, will give you a proper breakdown of the event format. Let's take a look.
And it's a beautiful play. Oh, my God. It never ends.
Roxy! 2 and a third. Roxy! Put the spray down!
The 2022 VALORANT Game Changers Championship begins November 15th. Here's what you need to know before the tournament begins.
No shot. You win this cat. I'm getting into my stride.
VALORANT Game Changers Championship is the first ever global LAN tournament in the Game Changers series. The world's top 8 teams will face off in Berlin, Germany to compete for global supremacy as they are crowned the inaugural VCT Game Changers World Champion. Teams attending the event earned their spots by winning major events or collecting the highest number of circuit points within their regions. The tournament will host representatives from North America, EMEA, East Asia, APAC, Brazil, and Latin America. You're not gonna do this, man. Oh my God, one shot! From November 15th through November 20th, the VALORANT Game Changers Championship will randomly place the 8 teams into a double elimination best-of-3 bracket, with teams from the same regional qualifier being placed on opposite sides of said bracket. When 2 teams are left standing, a best-of-5 grand final will determine our first ever Game Changers World Champion.
That's another ninja defuse! Lori, my goodness!
To learn learn more about the 2022 VCT Game Changers Championship in Berlin, check out VALORANTesports.com and follow us at Valorant Esports for further updates. Good luck to all the competitors, and we'll see you making history in Berlin.
That is absolutely gorgeous.
8 global teams in a double elimination bracket. I'll mark that with things you love to see. But Kukuka, which matchup from our opening gambits are going to be your most, I guess, focused on?
I think I'm very excited for the Guild X versus Shopify Rebellion, especially because they're the eternal second place, but Guild actually managed to pull through and to win that last year, so I'm very excited for that one.
Yeah, I think today's games as well, we get to start off with Cloud9 versus KRÜ. That one should be fantastic. Two insanely dominant teams in the head-to-head. And if Cloud9 and G2 wins, that could mean there's a chance we get Cloud9 versus G2 at the end of today, which would be an insane story if that starts. But no matter how those games pan out, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I know. We have great matches top to bottom here. And look, you know, as a host, right, sometimes we're tasked with the difficult ask of our analysts to make predictions. And I'm going to put you guys in a hot seat right now because I don't have to. I know Mimi relishes in this one, but...
Do I relish in it?
I think so, in a capacity. But you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Who do you think is going to win the Game Changers World Championship?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of easy for me. I've prepared some artwork. For
Artwork?
those of you that remember Champions, I'm a little bit of an artist from time to time.
Oh.
And I'm looking for Cloud9. That's
pretty good.
not a 7. That's not a 7 for any wondering. That's
looks
Cloud9.
like a 7.
I think
Why
they've
did
got
you
to be one of the
close
favorites
it?
to win.
I know,
I think that's a part of the logo.
I know, but you know,
The brand identity.
You'd have done maybe a 9 standing on a cloud. We'll improve for now.
We don't really want to move away from our artistic vision here.
All right, Kukuka, what about you?
So I had one written here, just because today I had a dream. I am not joking. I think I've been seeing them around too much. I literally saw Mary crying, lifting the trophy.
You had a vision? And you're not going to follow it.
But listen. In Spain, we have a tradition, okay? I think the G2 do not need me. They do not need me to predict them. But in Spain, we have a tradition for the lottery. When we need luck, there's a bold guy that gives us the luck.
We have one right here.
Yes. And we all need to do is to grab your lottery ticket, this one right here, and just rub it on.
For KRÜ?
Yeah.
I thought you were a G2.
Okay.
Is this fair?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's it for me.
If you had a bald guy and it worked out,
Let's see how it plans out.
You know what? I feel like
we'll bring this back on the final.
I already believe in curses. I guess it's not that
I feel
far
like
away
I'm
to believe in
finally
that.
useful. I thought this whole time I was just a fleshy meatbag that threw to commercial break, but now I'm a good luck charm. I feel so good about that. Thank you for making me feel valued.
Anytime.
I'm glad you found your validation. That's
you.
really, we're having a special moment here.
And I always thought it was going to be Mimi, but no, it ended up being Kukuka on day one.
But
Unbelievable.
she's here.
She's here. She witnessed
She's part
it.
of the moment.
All right, guys. Well, look, you got Cloud9 wide over here, and of course, you got KRÜ with some luck of my bald cranium. According to Kukuka, she says G2 though does not need any help. We want, of course, hear from you guys, and if you want to tweet us anything, you know, by the way, keep it nice. That's happening throughout the event. Maybe you could just go ahead and Photoshop my bald head into something else you want to do. Make sure you use the hashtag VCT Game Changers and hashtag VCT, and you will be featured on the broadcast. So make sure you get out there and talk about the event. A lot of people are going to be talking about us to join the conversation. But look, we've heard our predictions from our analysts, but we want to know what you folks are thinking at home in today's poll, as a matter of fact. Which region is going to take it all? Is it going to be North America, South America, EMEA, or Asia? Make sure you use the QR code that's actually on the screen right here. Go for it, right? Scan it with your phone or whatever electronic device you happen to have, and go nuts. Let's hear from you guys. We'll go ahead and talk about it toward the end of the show, but we've got to take a quick pause for the pause. And when we return, we're going to break down the first matchup of the Game Changers World Championship. And these two analysts laid out as tournament favorites. They're going to be facing off. It's North America's Cloud9 White. They're going to go up against LATAM's KRÜ Esports. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, everyone, to the Game Changers World Championship. And look, folks, we couldn't have asked for a better way to kick off our event than this epic matchup between North America's Cloud9 White and Latin America's KRÜ Esports, two teams with a track record of utter domination in their respective regions. And Kakuka, I'm going to start with you because we have two phenomenal squads that are about to take that stage.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you defined it perfectly because when we talk about Game Changers, we need to talk about Cloud9. I think that it's been the team that has been in everybody's mouths.
Yeah, it really has been. And if you look at the records for these two teams, it is pretty absurd. Cloud9 has played every single Game Changers event in North America. They've won every single one, only losing 2 series over the course of that, only losing 6 maps. That record's insane,
Wild.
but KRÜ has done the same within their own region. They've never even dropped a series.
Yeah, it's exactly the fact that Cloud9 is literally like that consolidated dynasty, and KRÜ has been, you know, also the fact that the regions have been different in how the tournaments have worked and the support and the different things that they have been getting. I think that it's very equal to put them head to head and see how good the teams are going to be on today.
Yeah, and honestly, the stat that caught my attention the most, how long these two rosters have stayed together. There's a lot of trust on that team that's about to take the stage.
I mean, we have a lot of long-standing rosters in this tournament, and Cloud9 White is one of them. These core 4 players have been together since the beginning of VALORANT, all the way back to 2020. This is that squad that Mel built up, but they have that new addition, Bob, into the mix now, but the dominance has not stopped since that change.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's very important to say that because so many teams have had so many changes, like, you know, finding the 5th or finding the 4th, but they only needed a couple, and they found their perfect match. And definitely, with all the changes that we've seen within the server, it doesn't matter what these girls want to try out, they will make it work for them. It's completely insane.
Yeah, the talent on this lineup is absurd. I mean, this is the team that when you ask them, oh, who are you guys scrimming? They're like, oh, we're scrimming, you know, we're scrimming tier 2, tier 1, you know, teams from across VCT. And part of the reason why is because of this person right here, Mel, our fellow co-analyst in the Challengers North America, but she has really been leading the charge, and she's just that damn good.
Yeah, she is the leader of all leaders, put this squad together from scratch, and has been in charge of it ever since. As an IGL, she's a very, very intelligent player, has been able to adapt around so many different metas and keep this team relevant. And on top of that, she is a fragging IGL. When she plays that chamber, she is absurd as an individual, and even when she's locking in the other Sentinel worlds, she is still just as good. When you think about Game Changers, a lot of people are thinking about Cloud9, and when you think about Cloud9, Mel is the face.
Literally, I completely agree with you. That's why probably we're so excited for that possibility of G2 versus Cloud9, because those clashes between her and Juliana should be insane.
Oh, and who also doesn't love a good EMEA NA clash at the end of the day?
Too.
But look, on the other side of that, you know, you got Cloud9, a long-standing roster who have dominated their region. KRÜ has also dominated the Latin American Game Changer scene without dropping a match, Kakuka, this entire year.
This is insane for them because, as you said, completely dominant on their region. At the beginning of the year, they decided to scrap everything that they knew about the game, got it together with Fricks, their coach, and just started learning everything from the beginning. Okay, who are we? What's our identity as a team? How do we want to play? Who fits better in different roles? I love to see Konsu here, the IGL from the team. She's also Massino's older sister, okay? That's the kind of level we're talking about here. I do not know what it is with Chile. I think that has been such an underrated country for so long, especially in FPS, and they have been delivering so much talent, especially for VALORANT.
Yeah, and here in VALORANT, the Chileans are so good. And this team in particular, you talked about that kind of reinvention of their style, and when I was watching back through these teams, this is one of those squads that impressed me the absolute most, and one of the reasons they're so good is because of Kinnear. For those of you that are not familiar with this player, you need to be watching her. She is one of the best raw mechanical players we have, and that's because she's not just a Game Changers player. She started her career in VALORANT, playing all the way back on mixed rosters, competing all the way up to the VCT Challengers playoffs. She played against the Leviathan core and dropped almost 30 kills on her. She is such a strong player.
Yeah, and every single time that if you ever get a chance to talk to her, she's so chill about it. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
This is her passion. This is where she wants to go. For this roster, it was never about being the best in the region. They want to be the best in the world, and KRÜ is always leading with the frags.
Yeah, and I think that comparison of mentality is really good. Both these teams come in with the idea of, we don't want to be the best Game Changers team. We don't want to be the best North American or LATAM team. They just want to be the best teams and players that they have. That same drive that we're talking about with Mel, of wanting to expand beyond Game Changers, of just being the greatest player she can be. KRÜ's already had that. She's come back into the Game Changers scene now, but her fixation is on greatness, and that's what makes this matchup so fun.
Yeah, I think after this event is said and done, I think we're going to be talking about KRÜ for a very, very long time. But look, we had our good friend Kakuka actually, and the one and only Van Silly, my man. They actually got to sit down with KRÜ as well as Romy earlier. Let's actually hear what they had to say.
What's up, everyone? It's Van Silly and Kakuka. We're joined by KRÜ's very own KRÜ and Romy. Romy, I wanted to start things off with the first question being, tell me about the playstyle of KRÜ and how do you stay so innovative in the Game Changers?
Hola chicas y bienvenidas, es un placer teneros aquí. Cuéntanos un poco, háblanos del playstyle que tenéis como equipo y también cómo conseguís mantener la innovación dentro de una región en la que ya domináis.
Bueno, yo siento que nuestro equipo como que se basa en jugar bien agresivo, como que siempre intentamos como basarnos en eso. El tema de variar, yo creo que es como innovar siempre con los campeones nuevos, como que siempre te abre puertas a hacer cosas distintas, entonces con eso es mucho más fácil como en cambiar las jugadas, cambiar cosas así.
We consider ourselves to be extremely aggressive. That's what we base our game plan in. Nice. And also the innovation comes within the agents and swapping things around within the game, but it's staying and putting that innovation coming in from the new agents. That's lovely. Also, nice. KRÜ, we have you here. You have a lot of experience also playing in mixed teams. You have been through a very long journey. How do you think all that journey has affected you as a player that you are today? Te veo ya contestando, pero yo te la traduzco igual. Obviamente tú has estado también jugando en equipos mixtos, has llegado bastante lejos, has hecho cositas. Entonces quiero saber cómo eso te ha impactado a día de hoy por la jugadora que eres.
Me ayudó un montón, en verdad. Me ayudó como a ganar esa confianza que necesita un jugador, porque a veces como quedarte en tu zona de confort de, no sé, pues en este caso jugar con puras mujeres es como una zona de confort más que nada. Y como que no te abre nuevas puertas ni tampoco te hace como ver nuevas perspectivas del juego. En verdad jugar con hombres como que me hizo como tener una nueva perspectiva del juego, como un juego más rápido, como pensar de otra forma y a veces hasta cambiar de distintas formas. Y el tema de llegar a, por ejemplo, los no sé, tener que conversar algo con un player o decirle algo, y hiciste esto mal, y de hacerlo, no importa que cómo salga, como que se lo toman todo así como, bueno, es distinto. Entonces como que eso me ayudó mucho a crecer como player, y el tema de que empezar a jugar con equipos ya tier 1 también es algo distinto.
It helped me a lot, definitely growing in as a player, understanding different parts of the game, how to talk to players, how to compete, how to actually understand the way in the game in different manners. I'm very proud of the answers that you're given, because it's so important also coming into Game Changers and how that is going to translate, bring it also that experience within the team.
Right, and that's exactly it. We talk about the stage now. You're on the biggest stage for Game Changers. It's the champion stage in Berlin. The fans talk about the favorites usually being like Cloud9 White, Team Liquid. Why should the conversation be around KRÜ instead, in your opinion? This could be for either of you to answer.
Okay.
Nos gustaría saber, perdón, la Romy me está echando ya miraditas. Tenemos muchísimos equipos que están compitiendo aquí. Básicamente decirnos por qué el que está viendo desde casa debería de fijarse en vosotras, por qué deberíais de ser vosotras las elegidas.
Yo creo que es porque claramente todos sabemos que somos el equipo que consideran underdog. Entonces yo creo que siempre ese equipo es el que sorprende y juega con más confianza, porque literal no tenemos nada que perder. Entonces vamos a sorprender, yo creo.
Okay, they like the tag that they have been given of underdogs because they know that that is the way that you outperform teams. They know that that is going to be the case, and they're pretty confident about it.
I'm ready to put respect on the name here of KRÜ. So, Cornelia, Romy, gracias for your time.
Gracias a ustedes.
Muchísimas gracias, chicas. Buena suerte.
Great to hear from the players there, and also Kukuka pulling off double duty.
I mean, it's complicated for me, not because I cannot translate, because, for example, if I see you, I know that you're going to talk to me in English. You know?
Sure.
So if you speak to me in English, I will respond in English. But for them, I'm used to talking to them, and I'm used to talking to them in Spanish, but also hearing Vance speaking to me in English. And if they're nodding and they, you know, letting me know that they're understanding, you know, I have to keep a lot of focus onto that.
Yeah. It's been obviously, it's going to be exciting to see this KRÜ team take the stage. And look, guys, we have two teams that haven't dropped a match all year, and they're about to face off right now. That's right, folks. Who's going to advance? Who will go to the lower bracket? We are moments away. Don't go anywhere. Game Changers World Championship. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And earlier we asked you guys which region is going to take the Game Changers World Championship right here in Berlin. And the results, folks, the results are in. Let's go ahead and see what you guys had to say on the social medias and all that stuff. I'm actually quite curious. And it is...
If it's not an A, I'm going to be... Oh,
what?
Wow.
Okay.
That is a surprise, but the Asian fans out in force today. That is exciting to see. Everyone else really close, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, I think that's the most surprising fact. I mean, Asia definitely with the 32 on top, but the rest are pretty equal. I thought that it was going to be NA, but like 56%. That was my bet.
Yeah, I mean, Fennel's fan base goes crazy. The Japanese fans love their
it's
team.
It's completely
like no
understandable.
Other
When
region.
you meet the team, if you haven't never heard about Fennel, you will understand.
Yeah, it's hard not to like Fennel. They are an absolute favorite. I am mind-boggled by those results, but that just goes to show you, like this tournament, anything is truly possible. Well, look, guys, we have 8 teams that are going to be coming to this arena with one goal in mind, to become the first ever global champion here for Game Changers. Who's going to claim the trophy? Who is going to write their names into the history books? Because, and I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but day one of VCT Game Changers is going to be starting right now.
Our road to Berlin has been a lot of work.
めちゃくちゃかっこよくて、めちゃくちゃ強いチームだと思ってもらいたいです。
NA is on a different level compared to the other regions.
We're the ones leading everything in Game Changers. We're the ones that want to take things to the next step.
Hay un sacrificio para estar al mayor nivel y cada caso que uno dejó atrás fue para algo mejor.
We're always considered as the underdogs, so I feel like there's a lot on our shoulders, and I think we really want to prove that we're better than people think that we are.
I just want to be remembered as the best player I could possibly be, regardless of my gender.
Playing on a stage only means that we're going to shine more.
We're the ones that want to break boundaries and break ceilings. We're going to put everything out on the table.
I am one of one. Trust me, I have just begun. I stay in the zone. Pass the torch and watch me run. I am diamond rare. Make them stop and stare. Yeah, I got the flair. No one can compare. Look at me in this glitter shining. Blaze. So fuck on, you can't see I'm out of range. You know my vibe is lit. Yeah, I was born for this. See me, you can't resist. Stop. Let it roll. Drop. Let it go. Stop. Let it roll. Let it be drop. Watch me.
Eu quero ser lembrada como a jogadora mais temida do campeonato.
Let it go. Stop. Let it roll. Let it be drop. Watch me go. I am one of one. Trust me, I have just begun. I stay in the zone. Pass the torch and watch me run. I am diamond rare. Make them stop and stare. Yeah, I got the flair. No one can compare.
We're going to absolutely be merciless at this event. You're disrespecting the server.
All eyes on me.
All eyes on me.
All eyes on me.
Todos tienen los ojos puestos en mí.
รอจับตาดูได้เลยนะคะ
All eyes on me.
Well, folks, if that doesn't get the blood pumping, well, honestly, I really don't know what will. But we've been waiting for this moment since the launch of VALORANT Game Changers. 8 teams have poured everything they have into this defining moment of their legacy. And all that's left is to seal the final chapter of their year. The teams are ready, and now it is time to activate the stage.
Cloud9 White, KRÜ Sports, G2 Gosen, X10 Sapphire.
Now it's time to see what we're going to get with our map vetoes as we jump into the action here for C9 White versus KRÜ Esports, Mimi.
A lot of parallels between these two teams.
Yes.
Neither has implemented Pearl into their map pool
So
yet.
far, yeah.
Both have not played it at all, and it's going to be interesting to see who bans that away. KRÜ starts with Bind.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised because this is one of the maps that they're undefeated in. But I think I understand it because in the last iteration of their composition, they were playing with the solo controller Astra.
Sure.
And I don't think it was sharp enough. It's definitely not ready to bring into the stage. If you're going to go against C9 White, you need the best out of the best. So I really like this Ascent.
Yeah, Ascent is a good choice. Both these teams feel very, very comfortable on this map. This has been one of Cloud9's home grounds, but KRÜ very good at it as well. I might even say it could be their best map. Cloud9 go to Haven. That has been a home ground for them for quite a while. No surprises there.
I think they are on an 8-game win streak there on a
Something
Haven?
like that.
Definitely, yeah, something crazy. Oh, the Pearl definitely is a veto that we expected kind of from the teams. Maybe if you want to pull out a surprise again, day one, literally the first time that you're going to be on the stage against such a strong rival, maybe it's not the moment. It makes a lot of sense. Another great map for KRÜ is this Fractures, so I'm really happy for this.
Yeah, if Ascent is the kind of most known map for both these teams that they're very comfortable on, Fracture is the map that both these teams have not shown a ton of play on yet. They've kind of had different ideas around the composition, KRÜ playing with a Sage comp, a Cypher coming out for Cloud9. So it is going to be interesting to see if either of those teams do have a new solution if we get to that decider. But for the first team, it should be great because those are both very even ground.
We have to get to that decider, especially because when we talk about Cloud9 White and all the changes that they bring in the composition, they can't afford to try out stuff in officials. They've been swapping the compositions. The last iteration that they had on Ascent was without even a duelist. So it could be crazy for us to see if we can expect a new iteration of the roster.
Yeah, there's going to be so much to talk about. Don't worry. We're going to have plenty of time to jump into the action. Don't worry. Trust me. I know everyone wants to dive into it, but look, we got to do one more quick break. We got to take a timeout. Got to rest a little bit here and before we come back to the desk. And then when we come back, it's going to be Cloud9 White versus KRÜ Esports. They're going to take the stage. We'll see you soon.
Girls keep moving that, moving that. They love it when you doing that, doing that. They on it when you moving that. Can't get sexy on them, tell them throw the whole stack. Go on, girls, keep moving that, moving that. They love it when you doing that, doing that. They on it when you moving that, moving that, moving that, moving that, moving that, moving that.
Welcome back, everyone, to Game Changers Championship Berlin. And we're all set for our first match of the tournament where only one team will maintain an incredible win streak in this competition. Let's see how it all plays out. And welcome to the stage, Cloud9 White and KRÜ Esports. Waiting on here, Cloud9 White, KRÜ Esports. Oh boy, I'm really looking forward to this one. I can't believe that we're starting off with this matchup, Mimi.
It is going to be a good one. Neither of these teams have lost a Game Changers tournament yet. Yeah. Both have incredibly impressive win streaks. This game will decide a ton for both these squads.
And as you said earlier, Mimi, for these two teams making it to the big stage, being here today, that was their goal. They want to be the best in the world. This is the first step through a very long career, but they have to start here today.
Yeah, the journey starts now, and think about the implications, though, Kakuka, if KRÜ manages to pick up this win, as everyone's been gassing up Cloud9 White, and for good reason as well. But hey,
totally. Don't get me wrong. I feel like KRÜ is cursed because every single time that we jump into an international event, KRÜ goes against the FPX, the Loud. They never have an easy first game. So for these girls, it has to be the same. It has to be Cloud9. You want to take the trophy, you got to take down the Titans first.
But what a confidence builder that would be. You come into this tournament, you defeat the team that most are calling the favorite to win this one.
Well,
that would be
Twitter,
huge for these guys.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, C9 White, a victory here, and it depends on how they win, because if C9 come to this one and they slap, this could be very problematic for the rest of the pool here in Berlin.
Yeah, we have heard from C9 and from Melon specific, they want to stomp in Game Changers. They do not want to play close games. They don't just want to win, they want to be dominant.
I think it's very important now that this is our first tournament. Do you guys remember what happened in the first VCT tournament where Sentinels came in and everybody, they're the favorites and they didn't drop a single map? This is exactly what they're aiming for. They want to have the same performance. Of course, the game has changed a lot, has evolved a lot, so have the players, but that is the outcome that they expect to get.
We have a lot of discussion about regions and who's the best and which style is best, but this is different. These teams oftentimes play a different style than what other squads with what some of the open circuit teams in their regions play. So it's a chance to kind of reset our expectations as what each region mean and what each of these teams mean now that they're on land.
Yeah, funny. As you guys were talking about it, I was kind of getting some goosebumps a little bit, just remembering Reykjavik and like everyone.
Everything
it feels, I know it's been a journey up until this point, but I think it's so incredible that, not only are these players going to get this opportunity to be able to showcase this, but also, Kakuka, for them to be able to face off in a very difficult matchup. I think if there's one matchup you want to watch today, not to devalue any of the other matchups we have coming up, because they're all going to be great, but this one's definitely going to set that tone for the entirety of this competition, in my opinion.
No, but we need to acknowledge the fact that Cloud9 One has been the team where everybody in the world has been looking out to be like, this cannot be real every single time, because even in EMEA, another very competitive region, we have had G2 going down against Gil. We have had that development, but for C9 White, how do you get better? How do you keep improving once you're better than the rest already?
Yeah, both of these teams, the queens of their region, have always kept their reign in good control. Now they have an opportunity to extend that, but it is against a very tough opponent for both of them. The matchup, though, that I'm looking for in this is going to get to see Kinnear versus Bob. They are two of the most experienced players, even outside of Game Changers, that we have here in this tournament. Bob was on the best team in Oceania in her own region. She was fantastic on her mixed team in North America, and Kinnear too has that legacy in LATAM.
It's the experience that we want to see. They obviously know that it has helped them become the player that they are today. Let's see how that helps them in the server.
All right, well, Prime Gaming Agent Select is about to begin. The first battleground will be Ascent. And those are going to be the picks that they have played previously. We'll see if we get any mix-ups here, Kakuka, potentially, but I don't know. I don't really think so.
Yeah, I'm really definitely looking out to what C9 is going to do, because as I was saying before, they played this composition without a duelist, knowing that they actually decided to start on the attack. I'm pretty surprised to see how that initiation power is going to work, because they have been so dominant on their defense here on Ascent. I want to know what's behind that thought.
It's going to be interesting. I am wondering if they just want to get their weaker side out of the way right away, but it is their weaker side, but it is still a good one. The way that they play their splits, and particularly this mid-control off of the Sage wall, is really good. Mel as well is really able to activate on these lurks, but on the other side, you have the Killjoy Jet composition from KRÜ. You have that same potential, and with a defensive-sided start, I think this is an opportunity for Kinnear to take control.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's very difficult to prepare for teams like this from teams like Cloud9, because just of swapping out the compositions constantly but keeping on just the fundamentals is really hard to prepare set plays. Now, Now, KRÜ has been under a lot of pressure. I think that this year only, they've only had from 10 to 15 off days. Just imagine that. Imagine the control. Let's see if that can pull also on the server, because I think that they were counted on starting on the attack, definitely.
Yeah, this is a team that people are sleeping on. This is their chance to prove what they have got.
All right, well, here we go, folks. It's time to dive into the game. And who better to call the action? And of course, what could possibly go wrong? Of course, it's one of our favorite duos in all of VCT. It's Panpox standing by for the call.
Wow, I mean, yeah, thank you for the introduction, Desk, as well. Lovely lead into this one, and I think they hit a lot of the notes here,
yeah,
Mike.
Absolutely.
I think we echo a lot of the sentiment. For me, I've got that same feeling when we were looking towards Reykjavik, that first event, the first international, all these different regions, head-to-head. Mike, where's your mind going at the start, though, here with these two teams? Your storyline, who you believe
Storyline.
I mean,
GB used the term set the tone. I think actually this matchup, although it being a banger, probably the best matchup we could have for the opening here in Game Changers, but it has the potential to actually disrupt expectations from day one, right? We're talking about track records coming into this. Expectations probably leaning a little heavier towards C9 White. But KRÜ Esports, I mean, think about it. Was it Mel that said in one of those bumpers just leaning into this? We're going to come out, we're showing no respect. That's KRÜ's pedigree, regionally and for this team.
And it's going to be humbling for one of these two teams, potentially. And if I'm Cloud9 White and I look at this team, I'm looking at them potentially running through opponents. That's what I want to expect, is that kind of aggression, that dominance, that control. But we dive into things. Cloud9 White on the attacking side and defensive side, of course, then means it's going to be KRÜ. So, first map will be choice of KRÜ. Let's see what they bring into this. A little bit of a contact made. Run towards short, and utility being worked through. Kinnear could be one of the first players to potentially have that impact. You see, not in a particular hurry. They are working mid, though, but you can look at the extremities. Also then one out by KRÜ, so it's that kind of exchange, and it's Kinnear to draw first blood. Jezikin's gone down, but it's all but a ruse. The B pinch is on the way.
Actually, they're scrambling to get back towards site here as Bob looking to pave the way all the way onto site. Actually, two players tucked in here. They're ready to actually pop off. This flash is perfect as well, Lauren.
Yeah, this isn't too bad. We have to see if they can actually take the side control as it stands. For now, it's all good. Plant going to come down. We look towards the retake. What do they have to build in? One towards CT, two towards middle. Romy, Konsu, and Kinnear still alive. Kinnear holding a fair amount of space to at least allow some safe passage back in. Looking a little paranoid of a flank coming through, but nothing there. It is all towards the site. 3 players posted up, and here it comes. Smoke's already invested. Katsumi playing site, 2 towards back of Boathouse. Dash comes in, and the first swing! Stunning work from Katsumi, and even once more! Welcome to the stage, Cloud9. You're looking like you're at home.
And absolutely shut down in that retake. Not even getting past the first hurdle there. All 3 players from Cloud9 White stacked in, ready to take that engagement. And actually, respect given on the side of Romy to be the one to try and be the aggressor in this scenario. Funny here with the opener, just tucked into short. A bit of a bait play, actually, from Tree. And I said, KRÜ desperate to try and scramble to find that rotation, but just couldn't get ahead of that site hit.
And you talk about confidence, and that's something that we have to look at here. This is stage performance now. This is very different. How many teams back in the day do we see look great online? They get to land, they get into these environments, and it changes a little. For now, though, that's the way it's going to steady the nerves, going to build into the matchup. We have a little kind of eco piece. We've got the Sheriffs coming out, so not too much to worry about unless someone gets pinched, someone gets caught by it. But Cloud9 White holding a default, and a deep default.
A very deep default, yeah. Alexis ready for this as the players in support as well. Jezikin's the first one to find it. Khalid actually responds with 2 here. Spike noted as well. Katsumi has to tuck away from this. Actually, Mel and Bob made progress elsewhere, but no real information towards B-Sat. I don't actually think the extent of this stack on the side of KRÜ was noted. But early advantage here.
Yeah, massive and fantastic consideration of that. Brilliant work coming out from KRÜ. I'm really happy to see. You can see instantly that Spike got collected and got the hell out of danger. So over towards the site we go. Plant going to come down. Let's see if they can hold on to it. Those 3 Spectres, still a fair amount of utility on Katsumi. Same with Bob as well. So you're still in a decent enough position to fight this one out. And I want to see Bob's flank here. The timing is everything. Do they still recheck towards middle? You've got 4 players and Bob could have the best flank in the world. They have absolutely no idea. And it's devastating. It's so much. They all have to turn. It's time being purchased. Bob does not need to overcommit to this. Just chip away by time. Precious seconds. Because KRÜ are almost back in this round. And it's only 1 to make it forward. Cloud9 White again. course correction there. It started to get a little dicey towards that A side, instantly lean away, and that deeper default paid off.
Beautiful timing as well from Bob to get behind that rotation. You see Conair just making that last glance back towards mid, but Bob comes through. She's on the backside of this, but the opener was fantastic here. I mean, Kalita finding 2 kills off the rip with the Sheriff, and luckily, C9 White able to tuck away from that Katsumi, like you said, just grabbing the spike, hightailing it over to the other side of the map.
But I also do want to look at KRÜ's consideration there. I love teams that on their kind of lighter purchases or, you know, eco rounds to an extent will try something. They'll give something and go, hey, it's our favorite,
Shout
Michael.
out GB.
Thanks, GB. You really cursed us here, bud. But no, I think rolling it back to even just that second round there, I did like what I was seeing from KRÜ. They tried something. Not just going to sit back, you know, actually try to get a little proactive with things, try to, you know, maybe disrupt a little bit, feel a bit warmer in the game, take a couple of these fights for themselves, because it could get a little bit, you know, you feel like everything's being dictated to you, because in my mind, again, Mike here, Cloud9 White want to look through this team. They want to run through this. They want to look as clean as they did online.
And on the flip side of that, C9 White actually poised. They're ready to receive that sort of play, right? They're anticipating KRÜ made, not necessarily 5 people stacked up, but...
No, but something.
Exactly, yeah. So, again, diligence shown from C9 White, not really wanting to let that round 2 get away from them and still maintaining. Actually, I mean, impossible for KRÜ really to come through, risk regaining those weapons as well. Yes. I don't think they wanted to reveal the extent of that stack, so the fact that Katsumi didn't hang around, obviously, KRÜ none the wiser to that.
And we will be going into the bonus this round. It should be an okay purchase. It hasn't been too much damage done in the initial round, so there could be some pieces missing, potentially heavy armor, a little bit of utility. We'll check back in when we jump back into the game. For now, of course, the bonus, we'll have to see what they're working with as well on the other side. But overall, I want to see what Cloud9 do in this round. I want to see if they can be creative as well. We saw KRÜ do it in the prior one. I want to see them on their kind of bonus round have a potentially creative mindset coming into this. I don't want to see them just kind of running through the motions here. I'd like to see Cloud9 actually bringing out, maybe not all of the plans, but a nice little showing here.
Yeah, and actually just to know what this next round's going to be like, because of that Sheriff purchase on a couple of players from KRÜ, there's a couple of light shields here, which some of these Spectres coming in for Cloud9 White can actually do damage here. We're talking about maybe some of these ranged engagements if Cloud9 White look to lean towards mid once again. I think actually Jazzy and Lex is probably just going to ride this through on pistols, to be honest. Katsumi and Bob have some funds to spread. But ultimate-wise, it's only really Kalita, those skills in the previous one away, and Katsumi doesn't have the TP available. We're going to see something. If KRÜ do actually play close contact once again, Katsumi can really actually get into the backlines with that.
Yeah, there's some potential for that one. Beyond that, though, hopefully all of you are having fun. Good morning to the watch parties tuning in. I think a couple of you over in NA, obviously tuning in for that Cloud9 White game nice and early in the morning. KRÜ fans as well, so hopefully you're having a nice day. Maybe some breakfast on the go, really easing in. You've got plenty of good games today, and this, how many times can I reference your Cloud9 White having a big test, right? I feel like I do it every single time. You know, oh, okay, up against your Shopify or up against X team, Y team, but I've got to say this is, you know, it elevates it because we are in a different environment. It's not like Cloud9 White haven't played at events before, but nothing to this scale, nothing to this pressure point, and it's that big first international, and that's why it reminded me of Reykjavik a little bit. It got me that, you know, that little butterflies coming through.
It's that thing where we talk about kind of solidifying or giving validity to some of these online results, right? And that's not to take anything away from I mean, almost having very similar journeys here, right, in terms of the track record, but it's that form that we're looking for both of these teams to bring to the stage here in Berlin.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's that, how strong are they when they get out of their region? You know, how does it look regionally when we go into review, you know, with hindsight and results now coming in? Do we go, oh, maybe, you know, Cloud9 White looked good here, but, you know, it doesn't look as good as they did during that online domination. Maybe they're not playing to the same caliber. There's plenty of different things to look at. Same for KRÜ. Okay, well, how regionally do they match up? Of course, towards the top end, looking near on flawless at times. Okay, does that transition against NA? Does that look good against EU? Potentially so many other regions to potentially look at. So, as it stands, for me, I think this is, once again, I hate to say it, but a litmus test. It's one of those where it's just a little bit of a sit back and watch. In my mind so far, seeing Bob playing well, though, that's good. That nice little flank, good timing, nice read of the pace. I like the creativity from KRÜ. So already 2 good looks.
It's those little things where we talk about tendencies that actually, if they stick to the game plan, whether or not there's anything that's going to really disrupt that, throw them off their game. Those are real key indicators in terms of really translating that form here in Berlin. Cover going on. No, actually, Alexis and Jazzykins did ride through, and actually Katsumi looking to get into the backlines here with the TP. Yeah, will be cancelled, so one player noted at least here towards Heaven, but already a rotation has come through, Lauren.
This is going to be a pretty rough site to take, but
almost
with the slow towards Heaven, yeah, they're completely posturing for the retake instead. Maybe feeling Kalita could facilitate something, but you still need to get that built up if you can. I mean, this isn't bad. They've got the post plant. They're sat in pretty decent positions. If this could go sideways, I don't love that they didn't try maybe halt a little bit of this, but utility-wise, they are down to bare minimum here on the Cloud9 white side. So this is a great opportunity for KRÜ, but they need to get going.
A lot of time burnt up here already. Kalita will pave the way through the door. This little crossfire setup here, though, just outside. Conir actually loses out to Jazzykins with the ghost here.
And I love the commitment as well from Jazzykins, still doing great chip damage too, and Alexis still not noted. Gonna get away with potentially murder until then. Mel on the trade and Mel on the flank! And that's a denial of the ult's validity. It's gonna find nothing here, as Romy, the last one alive in a 1v3, and Katsumi, headliner so far, mopping it up. And that's a conversion that's gonna sting against KRÜ here.
Absolute shutdown there on the retake. And again, Conir faced with a really, really awkward decision there. Like you said, to peek through, try and make use of the rifle potentially and slow down C9 White on the way into the site. But, I mean, outside that, it's only really Romy that can take that peek. Once that slow orb comes in onto Heaven, that peek is not comfortable. It's not as if you've got a chamber that can kind of dip in and get out quickly.
Right.
It's Romy scrambling to find its rotation, just can't get there in time. And almost a panic ult thrown out here from Kalita to try and clear through short, but Mel threads the needle perfectly.
And got to say, Katsumi looking like a land beast right now, sitting on 7-1, farming it up. And once again, similar scenes, but it looks like Cloud9 White are more than aware. Good trades for KRÜ, though. Conir and Beish at least going to do some damage on this one. Rifle's not quite recoverable yet, so a little bit tricky in that regard to try and maybe get those back into play for KRÜ if they could recover them. And already, C9 White just going to turn attention. They want that plant. That's what they're going to try and facilitate. The two players playing slightly ahead. Spike safely working his way around by main. And they should be able to at least secure Heaven, maybe secure a little by tree, which they're going to do by at least shutting the door.
Alexis and Mel might even go exploring here.
I think they should.
Be able to greet a couple of members of KRÜ just ahead of progress towards Heaven. Finally, value here. Conir just behind the curve there. Fortunately, caught off guard. Mel, savior of that one. Alexis nearly caught, but KRÜ doing damage once again here with pistols. Happy to stack up, taking engagement on one extremity. They draw blood, but once again, C9 White, the contingency's in place. And lose the spike, or you know, nobody's overextended in a position they can't be recovered from. It's
Mel's
well
yet
handled.
to die.
Yeah.
Mel's going to have one of those games, isn't she? We'll find out how this goes on, because we are seeing that potential with KRÜ. I like that little, the aggressive looks, but you kind of need to now start committing to that a bit more. Needs in a rifle, which is what we've got coming in now. Operator into play for Romy, who's yet to get on the board, though. 0-4 so far, same for Konsu, so we need to see them start activating, feeling present in these rounds, because so far, so good for Cloud9. Now, this could be a good start, though. Shot goes astray, not ideal. Has to fall off this one. And give up that mid control, which actually quite quickly C9 are going to take into their hands here.
I think this is actually on the back of, you can see here just off screen, Mel being tested. The one-way phone up, great counter to that is the spy cam from Mel. Again, this initial probe, C9 White looking to peel back towards short here. It's only really going to be one player holding down. Conir playing very close contact, noting Mel's presence outside in the early rounds.
But there's no pressure on short, and they would have felt that, right? And they can speed up the pace, and they're so aware of this. Alexis with the first was great. The second, I feel, was a gift from the gods. And already the plant now getting put down, wall in place. Every post plant is pretty much covered, and you've got an operator. That's an expensive piece of kit. Maybe you don't want to commit at this point.
Romy posted up deep in Heaven. No possibility of swapping this out, and actually Katsumi ready with a paranoia, potentially, to enable somebody to push even deeper. It looks like KRÜ, rightfully so, going to give this up. That'll be the 5th on the board very quickly for C9 White. Unfortunately, not a lot for KRÜ to say in this round. No. Like you said, almost that double stack towards main when there's no pressure follow through towards B or towards mid. You must expect that push out. Try and dig Mel out of this position. Bomb catching him. Headshot there. Konsu will find Jazzy, but nothing but a consolation at this point.
It's worth hunting these down. You have the funds.
Yeah, want to punish
Money
this.
is great for C9. On the other side, they are desperate to keep hold of these. And it's just the operator.
The door's closed as well.
Do they get to keep it so far? I'm pretty sure it's gone. Okay, Mel, huge punish.
That's massive.
Look at the money coming back in, 3.6. I think it was like 3.1. It's going to be shoddy at best.
Katsumi's already nearly on another ult. Already. Actually, talking about it, is KRÜ's first ultimate cycle just about coming online, but it's in the wrong round.
Yeah.
Again, we know Kalita threw out the ultimate earlier, but there's no real tools to... I mean, unless they want to invest here.
They're feeling it, man. Yeah. You can see Mel there just kind of starting to get a little feisty too. And I've got to say it, Mike, in my mind, they're reading the game really well here. For
Yeah,
Cloud9.
perfectly.
If you talk, away from what we're seeing in the rounds, a couple of exchanges.
Difference being here as well, where Katsumi's posted up, ready to receive that aggression outside B main. You can see immediately, they know a bit more about it. Other than Kalita taking first contact, you can actually see immediately scrambling those communicators to say, it's all 5. Hit A now.
Yes.
And once again, like I said, nobody from C9 Wide's overextended. They don't lose the spike in an awkward position. They're in position to capitalize on that straight away.
Yeah, the read is fantastic. The mid-rounding coming out from C9 is good. It's not all just kind of that predetermined plan. It's not just, full-on executes here and there. It's just really nice audibles being called out as well.
And this time out from KRÜ, the sort of things I wanted is what I alluded to. The fact that they, as 2 stacking towards A main, they did spot Mel nice and early.
They did.
It's a Cypher, it's a spy cam. You've got to start taking those risks early on, because C9 White, how many times are they in this position where they stack up? They didn't have that snowball effect where coming into what we're going to see the third buy round come out and KRÜ off kilter a little bit in terms of economy, in terms of the ultimates. It can spiral out of control so quickly when you're playing against Cloud9.
It can, and it might be doing just that. At 5-0, KRÜ, that timeout could be essential for them. This could be time to maybe, I don't know, talk through the options, try and get a grip on the game, because it's very easy to get blown out of the water. It's something that we've seen consistently, even in NA during the online phase. KRÜ needs to get a grip on this one. And I don't know how many times they're used to playing from the back either. It could be something they're just not used to. This aggression is so good from them. They are so good at these half buys, these kind of shoddy purchases. They are fantastic, and the spike is in a bad position here. They need success over by A, and Bob's given them just that. Bob now on the side can take so much control of this. The spike, yes, it is still an issue, but they at least have that backup plan now.
So I'm looking here to see how C9 White do recover here, because first time the spike has been out of position. Bob perfectly flanking through
it's
main, finds the
ferocious.
first, the second. Actually, Romy gonna fall too.
And Alexis trying to swing from it. That's good. Time to get away, though. There was still that pressure. There was still that danger. Konsu could have hit another shot. It could have been another problem. It's not to be. Kinnear has to find impact, find damage, find something, because this chip damage stops being enough. It stops being a silver lining at 6-0. It stops being anything we can depend upon. The first time we're really seeing C9 having to scramble in this round, and again, it's one of these buys, but that's a recovered rifle.
Alexis actually anticipating the lockdown potentially being used on short and saved the fragment for it. Not sure if Konsu's going to consider that. Alexis does give up the lineup for the time being after that door's removed. Well, they can follow through here. Alexis going to take first contact. The spike I'm actually spotting out heaven, but Alexis standing strong. Just one left to find for C9 White.
Kinnear. No one's given them any play, and the swing together, it's sorted. Bob bailing him out there as well. Got to give credit, they held him mid, they got the spike back to hand, but Bob, the amount of room that they garnered pushing towards that A side, pushing through, pressuring short, allowing the spike to come back in. That was probably one of the hardest 4 rounds we've seen yet.
Yeah, it was. And like I said, the first time that actually we've seen, we're noting how actually diligence in the early round, the spike was never really lost. The first time that KRÜ actually had an opportunity to really pressure this buy round from C9 White, but it just wasn't followed through. Great cleanup, and like you said, credit to Bod to actually make use of that time, get through onto A side, find that flank, and actually remove that control from short.
Okay, we've got the ults coming around. We have everything we need for KRÜ. And KRÜ are getting aggressive. They're straight up middle. They're up the gut. They're going to go for the deep knife as well. Finds maybe Mel at most, but for now, well, fully aware. Seems hyper aware of the possibility of this. Maybe noting the success they had in the prior rounds, but the timing's everything! And Mel's still alive. Untouchable in this
on
game.
the weapon switch as well, Lauren. Absolute madness.
Mel in fine form. And just taking their time here. The lockdown being considered by Konsu.
Love the counter over the Hunter's Fury. And actually, Bob going to throw this out preemptively here, just to try and remove Konsu from this short position, but finds Kalita instead.
And Katsumi, might be the time. There's that lockdown. And there's the TP, right towards the back of Boathouse, going to note that no one is there, and commit. So, Spike can be safely ferried away, unless Vaish can maybe find something towards middle. Maybe be a problem, but do they go for a double pump? Do they then thread up through middle? Because no one's posted on it. They've got options here. Katsumi can be all but a ruse. See what they do with this one.
Left.
Options are plenty, 28 seconds, but it looks like they're still eyeing up that A site.
If Katsumi closes this door here, maybe re-smokes off spawn. See Konsu rotate back through, but C9 White. I mean, Alexis is already deep on site here.
And there it is, Mel. Gonna make it across. Kinnear, though, gonna find Katsumi. That was the fight towards B, so the plant's gonna come in, and now we're in the post plant. favorable numbers still towards Cloud9 White, but we're going to see what Khonsu, Beisht, and Konir can maybe achieve in this one. A little late on rotation because they had to deal with a player who took that TP towards B. Alexis waiting for the pressure to come in through by Tree, going to spot out Khonsu. The flash to follow, going to know 2 and fight 2. Alexis taking heads. Konir just dismantled up towards heaven, and it's flawless. How many times have we asked this and waited to see if it will translate to the international stage? And so far, so damn good. Cloud9 White are just something else.
And the concern being, we were talking about when that first ultimate cycle will hit in a buy round.
Yep.
That was it for Crew. The only thing they come away from here is the Blade Storm for Romy. So absolutely nothing gained off that investment. Actually, on the flip side, I think before that, C9 White had either 4 or 5 ults to throw into this, and they're ready to just counter everything that Crew are looking to achieve. You always see him now getting a bit fired up on stage, look a bit happier, looking to have some fun.
And on the other side, not going to be a similar scene at all. It's going to be a rude awakening, a tough, bitter pill to potentially swallow on map 1 here. Pressure towards middle found. And if you're C9 White, you've got to be looking for that aggression we know that Crew will try and bring out, which they've done. They've zerged out a B, they've taken the space away. They're going to leave A pretty vulnerable, but they're going to note that, and they'll have to try and do that damage on the way back in.
Vice actually already away on short here, so stacking up 4 members of Crew to flank through all the way from A lobby here. Just going to be Konir to show. Actually taking a ton of damage on that wallbang. Forced off the angle as well.
Yeah, 5 HP is all that's remaining, and this is going to be quite telling. Mel going to be on guard duty. 7-0 so far. Spots 1, takes 1. That's going to be Beisht down. Bob going to take over the next bit of pressure here. Spots out more, and he's got the support. It doesn't need it. It's just farming out here. Cloud9 White just a cut above the rest with the Prime Gaming flawless.
Really hitting their stride now.
Yep.
8-0 the score. Like I said, that ship has sailed now for Crew to really have any input here. They're in damage control mode now. They need to get something out of these last 4 rounds.
And it feels like maybe just unbridled aggression could be the name of the game. Try and just be disruptive, do something, because it's not working otherwise.
That was supposedly the game plan, right? To actually take the fight to these teams here in Berlin. We've seen it in a couple of rounds, but like I said, it becomes harder and harder to justify now. Like I said, it's to the point where throw something out, see what sticks. So that might be the case here. Not through B main here, but there's 4 members of C9 White here. Again, these early round protocols, the slow orb, to actually prevent any further progress behind this first blood. Beautifully done.
Great read, great anticipation. Crew not finding that first impact. Last time around, we saw this on a couple of the half buys, a couple of the ecos.
Kalita opening things up.
A couple of trades, working quite nicely. This time around, too sharp to it. C9 reading the game plan really well, and the patience even sticking around just in case there was that double dip of aggression, and there was. Once again, it's noted, paranoia invested, and the push comes in. They're just going to absolutely send this. Katsumi are going to just drop a smoke down towards CT. And the ball comes up as well, so they can even note towards the side. So this is now a problem. Beisht overwhelmed, and it is just clear cut. Mike, there ain't much to say about this.
No, there isn't. Constantly just about making it way back through to spawn side here. 2 mollies to work with, but C9 White flooded the site now. 3 members here once again. Bob a little disconnected as well, just as that contingency once again. The Hunter's Fury online. This one you got to say, it's looking like a 9.
Very much so. I don't see this going any other way here. Still the utility to invest for Bob, for Katsumi. Still so much to run through, and it's rough for Crew. There is no good option anymore.
And slipping back into just try and hold on to these rifles. I think a couple of the members hit, well, 1,000 for Romy, 1,400 for Beisht. Kalita down to 600. It's not going to be a pretty bite. Got no potential to drop a weapon out.
Rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep punishing. Don't let your foot off the gas. They're going to swing through, going to find here. Konir and Khonsu will find the kills, but consolations and nothing more.
Yeah, it's way more costly, obviously, for Crew here. Their money devastated, left in tatters and ruins. Might be able to at least spread the wealth a little now. On the other side, of course, you were seeing max money starting to be hit, so it was no real problem. It was worth hitting that chase. I just don't know what else Crew are meant to do here now.
I mean, in this one scenario, the one fallback would be, you know, Romy potentially getting Blade Storm up every, 3 or 4 rounds or something like that, but they haven't even had that to fall back on some of these lesser purchases. The only thing really left over here is 2,400 in the back pocket for Konir. Still will be able to get rifles, a Bulldog, to kind of complete the purchase. And here Crew playing a little deeper No progress either side of the map. Romy actually tucked into bricks here, just outside A main. Again, the momentum is there for C9 White, though. They're not even paying much attention to the other side of the map. Yes, that trap wire is going to get set off, but Mel has the spy cam just to make sure there's no push coming through. You can see the check there.
Yeah, lovely work. Mel calling this one out as well.
Kalita's already preemptively rotating off that after dealing with that trap wire in B main.
The contact's going to be on short. Coming on the knife, good. Smoke goes up. Romy, Island. Trade comes out. 1-for-1 so far. Mel gone down. The timing not bad at all. Rez going to come out. Mel back on the feet. And Jazzy going to carry on forward. All invested. They got to know everything. Flank now seen. They are going to be on red alert as they should be. Beast, though, finally comes alive on the side. And there's a fight to be had.
Bob with the response on here. Kalita and Konsu left to try and cover this one now. Bob actually peeks ahead of that. As the spike is planted, so now 1v2. Jazzy will fall. Konsu swings through and finds KRÜ's first round.
Yeah, finally starting to hit here. It was scrappy, but it's worked for them. One, I mean, you take what you can get at this point. That's as much as you can really say about this. There's no nice way to put it. You sat 9 down, you've claimed one back, you've at least given yourself a shot now going forward.
So now, unfortunately, in a position where they can buy back through. Jazzy does fantastically to deal with this threat, actually. Perfect reveal coming through on short. And you see, actually, initially, it looks a little uneasy for C9 White as they try and recover the situation. So KRÜ come through, find the burst, another rifle purchase coming through, and actually a Guardian to round it out this time. See if KRÜ can build anything off this. Konsu and Based actually do have ultimates available here to invest here. Bob actually on the operator. So maybe an indicator that C9 White going to try and slow things down a little bit here.
Cage triggered. Well, still going to hit that pressure towards middle. Keep them present. We still have that late hold towards B main.
I mean, the alarm actually positioned behind these cages. So Mel trying to plant the seed, the potential progress up mid. Nothing following through here. Actually, the preemptive no command from Based. Actually, in A main, look how deep Bob is positioned here. They're trying to probe to almost bait out this push once again from KRÜ. Nice peek from Romy, though. Down to 70 HP early on. Still happy to take this engagement and rewarded for it.
Yeah, they're going to note Konsu, though, so that's not going to go unseen. The rotations are on the way, and there's no real backup plan. It is quite all in now. The smoke going to come down, and the lockdowns come out. This is now going to give them a time limit. There is pressure put on Cloud9. Romy's reposition is perfect. Going to find Katsumi. Bob and Mel still alive and kicking, but for how long? 2 more seconds. They got to handle it. They got to handle it now. Mel can't do it. Gets caught, but still standing was Alexis. Bob puts life on the line for it as well. And now just down to Kinnear. And it's all slow sailing, but they need to get the spike and they need to get the plant. Couple of seconds to spare, they get it done, and Bob's waiting. Double digits, as manic as it may have been, they've made it to 10.
Last round.
Mel just charging through, even with 3 seconds left, still looking for that kill. Pulls out the Sheriff, tries to deal with the lockdown, but the contingency in place. 2 members of C9 White still outside that lockdown area of effect. Even here, beautiful trade from Mel actually onto Katsumi.
With 5 bullets, she had to spin over. Man, 10-1. Impressive, gotta say it, very impressive to see. And again, shattering the economy as soon as it kind of goes back and forth. And, well, that's a shot. Where's this been? Where's this fire been from KRÜ? Love that aggressive first peek. Gonna be able to dip away now. Don't need to overextend on this. Obviously, unrecoverable rifle, but still, good damage achieved. Could potentially spread the wealth. Depend on the knives a little if you could.
We have seen C9 White flip these 4v5s time and time again, though, particularly on these rounds the KRÜ are sat on a lesser purchase. First time we've seen KRÜ dip away from it, though. Yep. They find the first blood, and they're actually in safe positions. Romy repositioning all the way towards short. I mean, potential even here to throw the rifle across, make use of that Blade Storm here. It being round 12.
Here.
Actually, utility noted inside B main here. Konsu only with a Sheriff in hand.
not too much support either in the way of the players that at least have weaponry to play with. It's Kalita only on the Sheriff as well, so going to be a rough one for Khonsu. And Kalita, that's brave. That is very brave. Wall goes up. Potential problems there. Kalita gets found, so the support system gone, and now it's Khonsu just left on their own. But great positioning, at least going to get away with one. Takes out Alexis, but Jazzy is ready. Death from above, and the shot just about clips the wings of Khonsu. Gonna dip back down for it though. Playing around the side of the smoke, 20 seconds here, and the pressure's tying him out. Jazzy finally gets found, and now it's Mel and Katsumi. 18 seconds, Plant not in just yet, and Romy looking for that chance above it. Doesn't get it. The paranoia slowing down the roll, and this pressure is tying him out. 10 seconds, they need a Plant, and they needed it a while ago. A tap on the spike, but it's Mel trying to get in their face. Katsumi gonna do just about enough to maybe buy time for a Plant. And Kinnear gonna feel that pressure, has to hold for a second. The classic switch was not gonna get it done. Kinnear gonna get them silver lining something a second round.
I mean, you could barely call it a lifeline. An absolutely dominant half here from C9Y, and a couple of these individuals stepping up and excelling. What we expected to see from C9Y, and it's translated here to the stage in Berlin.
It absolutely has. The dominance has carried through, and here just a look back at Jazzy being such a problem from this position, even following up with that clip as well. Coming through just, I think, in a second there you saw it, but eventually got found in the end. You can see the kind of tides turning, but a commanding start and a commanding performance, and holding that reputation as high as expected. Cloud9 white, stunning start. KRÜ giving themselves barely a lifeline here at 10-2.
Wow, wow, wow. What a strong start for Cloud9 White, but good enough, though, to see KRÜ really show some life there toward the end. That is exactly what they needed if they want to try and bring this one back in the next half.
It's something, it's a round, but still Cloud9 have come in and made good on their promise. This is a team that prides themselves on being dominant in Game Changers, and they're showing it here internationally.
Yeah, completely. I'm going to dare anybody that it's at home, when we are in game, try and find, when we have the player cams and we have Mel, try and find 1 second when she's quiet. She's talking all the time. She has everything under control, and I think this is one of the reasons why this beginning of the half was so dominant by them. It looked like they had a plan in every single second for every single round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the sign of a good leader, right? Someone who just doesn't matter what's going on in the game, doesn't matter what the score line is, you keep talking, because at the end of the day, the job's not done until the trophy's lifted over your head.
Yeah, it absolutely is not. And for Cloud9 in this game as well, I think they played this composition really well. It's tough to play on Ascent without that dive duelist, without that jet, that raise, something to that effect, but they do it really well, and it's through leveraging this Sage for these consistent split hits. You saw in that final round, a la FPX, Jazzykins boosts up in main, finding value with the up. You see the slow-up lineups going towards heaven. Cloud9 with this composition, they don't play it a lot in NA because they're just so dominant here, but they are very well practiced with it.
To me, it's also very surprising to see players, for example, like Alexis. We were talking about, you know, how now you have to use the KO with the new patch, playing exclusively, not exclusively, but most likely for your team, and the way that she was using the knives, getting all the information and forcing KRÜ out of the way all the time.
Yeah, it was constantly, you could tell that C9 round after round, Mimi, had a plan of attack. Even when Bob was just like hanging back deep into this into their side, it was like, yeah, I'm just waiting to see if something's gonna happen, because you know the rest of the team, they have that execution on the other side.
Yeah, and now as we look ahead towards this second half, it is gonna be, I think, more important for KRÜ than anything else to be able to get a couple rounds, get the confidence back.
All right, well, let's see if KRÜ can bring this one back, or will C9 close it out? Let's send it back over to your casters.
Well, 10-2, I think they need more than bloody confidence.
That's not going to cut it.
No, I like the desk. You know, you're trying. I appreciate you, but no, they needed a lot more, and they needed it in the first half. I don't think the last 2 rounds gave me enough. There was not enough to really read into, saying, okay, well, they finally figured it out. They finally got their stride. It was 2 good rounds, but
hey,
that's
I mean, if KRÜ want to completely, you know, shift the entire focus here and really rely on pace to try and be aggressive here. Problem being built around Romy versus this composition. You look towards Mel and Jazzy to really slow things down and prevent KRÜ from really breaking through this C9Y defense.
Yeah, Romy. Going to be the one to try and take those first couple of steps. So Alexis, no respect. Happy to take the fight, but punished on the timing there. Katsumi just left in no man's land caught as the smoke dissipated. And actually the punish towards Mel. A little bit of a fumble on the timings, a little bit of out of position here. This is not ideal yet. And actually KRÜ going to make the most of it.
Katsumi almost caught off guard there as that smoke did drop. Alexis, knife destroyed, but information confirmed at least. And KRÜ looking to pile on the pressure through short here. One lurk left, and Romy, completely unconsidered, will punish Jazzy.
Player standing.
Way better work coming out from KRÜ. This is much better. Loved how much they were able to capitalize on some of the small mistakes coming out from C9 there and making it their own. Lovely pace, keeping that momentum up, taking the site, plant in, all good. 10-3, still heavy advantage to C9. Need KRÜ to find a bit of that form here going forward, and there's no mistakes. They can't drop the ball now.
Absolutely, yeah, I hinted at it, but KRÜ need to stick to this. It needs to follow through here, all the way through to the early buy round.
Certainly does.
Very early progress towards bottom mid here. You can see, actually, that's the reason the pop flash through the smoke comes on short. Like I said, Katsumi, unfortunately, just maybe a couple of seconds off, but caught totally out in the open once that smoke did fade.
Yep. See what tempo KRÜ try and continue at, but you can see them kind of diligent, sitting deep. Something that we credited C9 for.
Almost anticipating a similar sort of approach to these thrifty rounds. Jazzy actually got a shorty position.
Camera taken out.
Over towards tree here. Mel tasked with holding on to B site alone. Actually a smoke and support, but looks like it might just be the orb retrieved. Kalita at least a little curious here with Romy. Both initiators here, potential to try and set Romy up to find this entry on B. C9 happy to stick as 4 over towards A.
Yeah, a little gamble stack. I mean, there are some sheriffs, so it's not completely without some danger, but gonna dash on in. And Mel knows days are numbered. If you can do some damage or take one with you, that would be a miracle in itself. Not gonna happen. Lovely work from KRÜ, filling out the stack maybe, or just well-considered approach. And the plant should be coming any second now. So down to about the 20-second marker, they felt comfortable enough. They'd taken the map control. They weren't gonna get caught out. Maybe if there was a stack on that B site, there could have been some further danger to it, but not at all. And plenty of information off the back of the knife. Probably 3 noted on that. So again, should be well and truly prepared. Nice little late mid lurk coming in as well. And should really seal it up. And Kalita just steals it away. Poor old Consul.
That's when you thought. Pop flash is good, but Romy stands strong.
Nice.
Bob actually looking to thread back behind Konsu on this flank, but Konsu still finds the headshot. The prime gaming flawless here for KRÜ. Themselves a second half here on Ascent. And coming through, and actually those Guardian purchases in the previous now actually put them in a good stance. You don't have to, close the distance anywhere in this bonus. Yeah, actually go through the protocols here. Perfect flash over the top here. Well considered by KRÜ in this post-plant hold. And look at him a little more lively now. At least that was the confidence boosters they need to get on the board here in the second half. But White now on their first rifle bite. A couple of gaps in utility here. I think it was a couple of sheriffs and maybe a shorty in the previous. I don't know what utility was invested, but towards Bob, Katsumi and see Bob find the first shot to Romy. Look at the repeat onto that angle as well.
Yeah, Bob getting away near on unscathed. The damage coming through the wall more than anything, but you can see them still committed to try and take this mid pressure. No fear being shown by KRÜ, trying to keep that tempo a little high, a little pressured throughout the map. Little flash in, doesn't quite find what they want, actually catching a little short there.
Konsu in position to deal with the wall immediately as well, so it actually pins one extra player of C9 White. They have to be on alert here, conscious of the possibility somebody slips to the net. Spike not committed just yet.
I like this, they're testing multiple areas, kind of that mid-thread, that play towards short, that pressure towards the wall, making it hard work to make any sort of gamble or rotation, hit that early rotate. So it looks like a double dip back towards A after that pressure on short. The knife came in, no one got noted, they go back towards this. Spike recovered and on the way, but there are rotations in, and Cloud9 White are in position for this one. This could be hard to stick the landing on 30 seconds. This could go astray, this could go wrong.
Here, Connor actually posts a perfect paranoia, but Kalita can't swing onto it. Too much pressure. Low HP, Alexis will deal with it.
Yeah, and here's that main play, and they thought the door. How did you get away with it? Alexis going to catch KRÜ in the end, but at this point, it is a 3v2. There's still a bit of a chance here. KRÜ and Bashed going to try and make something out of it. Plant going to come down. Spam doesn't find as much as Bob would have wanted. And now we look at the post plant. What do they have for it? Just kind of tucked towards under heaven. It ain't pretty. There's nothing special about this. Alexis just has the room, but Bashed does a little bit of damage, but it wasn't going to be enough. But for a bonus, if you look about what they were coming in with, it wasn't that full purchase yet. That's not bad for KRÜ.
They've drawn blood once again. Well, look what the purchase is going to sit like. Again, you look at the numbers over on the left side of your screen with those Guardians to offset that round 2 purchase as well.
Yep.
KRÜ actually in a very, very good position to buy back in here. Slight advantage across the board in terms of this ultimate cycle. Alexis being the closest to C9 White, 1 away from that null command. And almost a total fumble here as that door was closing. Luckily only 1 falls, and actually I think initially a trade coming through. See what the game plan is now for KRÜ.
I think this is always the scary factor when we talk bigger picture, that you are going to be, even with a good start and everything else you need, if you do start getting chipped away in, you know, in the first gun, in the first buy round and everything else coming out, bonus. Oh no, KRÜ! Fumbling it.
Yeah.
Maybe pressure getting a little much here. You're starting to see 11 against you. It does start to mount, and well, Bob takes absolutely no prisoners here. And Jazzykins and co feeling that pressure starting to mount towards short, and the wall goes up.
In. The wall actually catching 2 on the left side of it here. Actually, Kalita nearly caught on that retreat. Romy, though, still stuck on the left side of this.
And I'm looking at readjust, though, shuffling back towards the B side, so pressure towards Mel. You can already see the camera starting to twist and turn, looking for any of these opponents coming in, and Bob repositioning towards top mid. This could be great timing for Bob, but actually gets warded away. Lovely support coming out from Bashed. Can at least keep their player safe as they try and pour up through middle.
Looking a lot more comfortable here on their attacking half. Kalita also reveal through Melt. Have to deal with that. Still got a trap wire and the spy cam is still available. Not anymore though, but a couple of one-ways now to work off. Will Mel be rewarded for her patience?
Well, may not be a lion's den, more like the rat's cage here. Mel waiting in the back. Don't allow the plant to come in, can't quite challenge. Has a smoke to keep safe on the right side, and the first challenger comes in and cleans her out. Mel gone. Romy going to find Jazzykins. This is much better work coming in, but the late flank catch them by surprise and pop in the ult as well. Okay, we're down to a 3v3 here. All of KRÜ's players tucked on the site itself. Smoke still invested. There it goes, the last one. High flash in. Can they make the most of it? Nade towards the back of the site. Kalita, great work towards Katsumi. They need more. They find more! Cloud9 White, devastating on the way back through.
And KRÜ almost look like they've dug their heel. Look at the HP from Alexis and Bob. 15 HP between them, Lauren. But they get themselves to 12. KRÜ, I think, going to be able to string together some sort of purchase here. At least rifles and the light shield coming through. Couple of ultimates online now. Kalita and Konsu, probably the 2 to build around. Romy and Base actually only 1 away, respectively. See with that late null command coming through. You did note Alexis was the closest in the previous round. Bob does have the Hunter's Fury online now. Can KRÜ hold C9 on the 12th for the time being? Beautifully execute. Back onto B side there from C9 White.
No, giving it. Okay, Hunter's Fury right off the rip here, Bob. Did catch KRÜ, yeah, absolutely. And it's actually Alexis to find the follow-up towards Kalita, so this is not looking good as a start. Losing on that pressure, and Mel already taking space. The map is feeling small for KRÜ.
And that's a big ultimate off the board.
Yeah, it is. That's a
Wait,
big
hang
loss.
On. Mel's out in mid.
Yes, Mel has taken over half of the map.
Mel has so much space to work with it. Look how deep the tripwire is.
Hand off the mouse almost there, Mel. Easy, Tiger. Gonna get it back on, and KRÜ goes down. Mel's just striding through the map. Now that could open a chance for them to double back here. They could walk away from this, try and maybe retake that space. You are seeing Bob have to respect that. Spin back around towards top middle, and Jazzy taking a peek.
Alexis got the knife back up though, so actually now with the null command coming through, was going to anticipate this, but Alexis just swings out, finds it, finds all 3. 4 on the round for Alexis. C9 White close out Ascent.
And I think that closes out some of the doubts that people may have had, some of those considerations, expectations for KRÜ being maybe a challenger, being a contender, looking good in their region, but internationally, it's Cloud9 White to really draw that first blood and looking damn good while they did it as well.
And a statement to be made here. Absolutely. Again, like you said, all these questions that we had potentially have the copium almost to say, are C9 White not going to replicate their previous form, their previous performances? But coming out here in map 1, a statement sent to another team that's probably feared here in terms of the teams that have made it through to Berlin.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a couple of names you put into the mix. You're looking at G2, of course. You're looking at KRÜ. You're looking at the big flagship teams from their regions. And the first big challenge has been successful for Cloud9 White. And again, this then kind of echoes through what we were saying at the start of this, when we're looking at Reykjavik, for example, how it felt seeing those first matchups, seeing those regions finally slot into place, because there was some real danger with KRÜ. Flip it around on the other side potentially and see what they could have brought if they started out on the attack. I'd have liked to have seen that a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more ability to kind of take maps into their own hands there.
Very few positives to take away. The one being actually coming out of the timeout in the first half, there was definitely a pace shift. You could see they completely overhauled their plan. That takes nothing away from Cloud9 White. Their troubleshooting on the fly, their ability to really manage some of the problems thrown their way, the curveballs in this. I mean, KRÜ could have just had a slow start here. Like I said, there was some glimmers of hope on the attack. This didn't have enough of a footing from that first half to really get anything going.
And I think that's fair. I think we do need to kind of give that a little bit of room, maybe for teams who aren't as comfortable yet, to get that little, space to build up. Yeah. Next map coming in, I would say is a problem though, is Haven is comfy. It's comfy for C9. It's not a map that I go, oh, okay, if it was like a Pearl or something bizarre coming in, sure. This is uphill.
To touch on Vito, there would have to be a real spanner in the works for us to actually say, yeah, KRÜ can drive this through, or comfortably say they can drive this through to the third. I think Haven's going to be an even tougher challenge than what they face here on Ascent.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think you saw some of the key fundamentals that work well with C9 here. I want to see if KRÜ can be disruptive. I want to see that aggression. I want to see that capability. We saw occasional glimmers of those eco rounds early on the attacking side. There were moments.
That's it. Like I say, we can see that the processes are there in place. It's about actually getting that confidence up to really achieve that in the buy rounds and really take the fight to C9 White.
Well, that's what we're going to be waiting for, is that second map, to see if they can find a bit of that ability here for KRÜ, because certainly after map 1, it is going to be a stark and rude awakening. Do not go anywhere.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
You would be made for me, but I could never listen. Blinded when I refuse to see. I don't wanna lose. I don't wanna play either. I'll never be a lover. I know. I know you are is all I ever wanted, and I just wanted you.
Well, if you had any doubts about Cloud9 White heading into this tournament, maybe game one answers a few questions here. C9 White looked dominant in their victory on Ascent over KRÜ Esports. Of course, Golden Boy here alongside with Mimi, as well as Kukuka here. And as we break this matchup down, Kukuka, I mean, look, we always knew this was going to be a challenge for both teams coming into it, but what I just did not expect was just how strong C9 White looked. Like, it felt like KRÜ were scrambling for answers.
Definitely. I had some questions about, you know, how the picks are going to go, if they're going to go for the last composition. I was really happy with what I saw because I understood perfectly what they intended to do, which is just go exactly with the plan, as we had mentioned, round by round, keep the head down and keep it calm when we have to, even if we're in a 4v5 situation. We know how to pull it back from here.
Yeah, Cloud9 was very focused in this game. They were very ready to come in with that same mentality that they've shown in Game Changers before, of just focusing on the dominance. And that's because pretty much every single one of their players was showing up at an all-star level for their first big LAN here. Bob absolutely performing, Lexi, Mel, everyone on this team was having their moments.
Yeah, exactly. And on the other hand, I have to say that, for example, Romy was really trying. She managed to get some openings, but she was completely shut down over and over again just because of the map control that Cena was putting onto them. And to me, this map was about Alexis. I expected Bob to perform the way that she did, but what Alexis did on some rounds was just out of my mind.
It really was defined by the initiator players of Cloud9 with Bob and Alexis, as you mentioned. In particular, Bob herself was showing up big time in this first half when they did get to play on that attacking side. The darts were always on point and was able to really be that kind of second entry player when they are playing this no duelist comp after Jazzykins goes in with that Sage, which we expect that performance from Bob. But what we don't expect from Cloud9 is the amount of times where KRÜ is actually opening up these rounds and starting strong. But then Cloud9 was just coming back. The way that they were playing in the mid-round and recovering from these early losses was one of the big parts of being able to continue that momentum all the way through their attack.
It's the fact that not only they're given 100%, we were mentioning also the fact that Mel was speaking all the time. It was her and Alexis that I saw speaking the more, and it's exactly in those moments where you're a player down and you're like, okay, how are we going to proceed with it? And everybody was on the same line from the beginning. That's how you managed to pull back from those rounds.
Yeah, and that is the reason why C9 White, everyone coming into this tournament looked at them as, you know, the odds-on favorite because of the way that this team plays, the protocols, just the way that they adapt in situations where you may think that they may be at a disadvantage somehow, some way. It also helps as well when you're clicking heads very effectively. That actually leads us to our Verizon high-speed moment here because we tried to get the clip of Alexis at the end, but thankfully we found another one, Mimi, so I think we were okay.
She made the job pretty easy to find a clip for these because she found so many impactful multi-kill rounds. Lexi showed up in this lane and was performing. By the way, Lexi's Alexis. I know pro players like that. She played in a rank 5 stack with my friends a couple times. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're friends. They're friends.
You have to fight back from the strong vamos that always comes from the side of KRÜ. So I understand that you're on the stage. Everything is working on your favor. You're getting this amazing play. So of course that is a reaction that you're going to have.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help when you're losing those games and then not only are they losing, but then they're popping off, you know, across the stage. Not the best feeling though, but KRÜ's certainly going to have to pick themselves up. And if there's a team that's capable of doing it, it most definitely can be KRÜ Esports. But let's actually go ahead and check out our next segment here because you're going to be feasting your eyes on the AIM Lab shoot-around. And this time around, we decided to look over the shoulder of our dear friend Mel as she's getting ready for her shoot-around here. And Mel actually sticking, you know, we all use AIM Lab, but most importantly here, she's looking to just get into the game as well. You can get the same kind of experience, both in AIM Lab as well as in-game. And look at that crosshair as well.
It's pretty sweet. Mel is absolutely farming in this one, but the players that are going to need to be hopping in the AIM Labs will be KRÜ because some of them were struggling. And I don't think it's they're bad players. They're not going to be able to perform online. I think a lot of it was the mental of this first game.
Oh, yeah,
there's a lot of pressures. These players have played on LAN before. Their qualifying matches to get here were on LAN within LATAM, but now you're in a different country. You're across the world. You're playing against a team that has very, very high expectations. So now I'm looking between this game for KRÜ to sit down with the leadership of Kansu and their coach in Fricks to really sort out what went wrong and kind of come back down to earth, because this team can compete. They just need to get that mind under control.
It's a problem of time, I think, as well, because every single time that they even thought about bringing back the round, they found another player going on the hunt in a different place. So the map control that C9 had over them was literally destroying the mental round by round, because even if you think of a different plan, you think of one place in the map where C9 is, and they are there. They are there, they're ready for you, and they're already clicking.
Yeah, and Mel, that is just her when she is playing on this Sentinel role. She looks so comfortable playing on that Cypher, playing on that Killjoy, where she does get that opportunity to just play back and really focus on making the best calls for her team.
Yeah, but big win there for Cloud9 White. But let's go ahead and actually move on, though, as we get ready for our next map. It is going to be Haven. This is a Cloud9 pick. Now, going into this, Kakuka, it was like Ascent is going to be a strong one for both teams, but it's very clear that C9 White had the answers, had the solutions, and that led them to a 13-4 victory there. But now we go to Haven, and to kind of talk about what Hypoc and Pansy were saying at the caster desk, like, you know, it's only going to get harder from here, especially on Haven.
For sure, for sure. There's many things that I'm looking forward to coming into Haven. First and foremost, we're probably going to get the chamber duel. That is something that we needed for this encounter. It was compulsory for us to witness it. But if you're a Cloud9 White, you should be very, very comfortable coming into this one. We were talking about how they were swapping compositions left and right. For this map, they've kept the same composition for so long because they really trust in what they have, what they do, how they work with the initiators. They have the perfect combos to play around the map. So I think it's going to be very complicated for KRÜ, and this is when we need Kone to show up.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And on that side of Cloud9 as well, this is the map where Jazzy gets to flex away from that Sage. That's kind of a one-up for when they're playing the Icebox and they're playing the Ascent. Now she gets her comfort pick, that Raze that she absolutely loves. And this is a composition that is built to enable her on that role.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be jumping into the agent select in a moment here. And for KRÜ, you're really going to be leaning on the coaching staff here to have to guide, you know, these players to the promised land on this one. This can go to 3. It's simply just going to be such a tall order for KRÜ to have to do this after what happened in map 1.
The first decision that they made was they picked their poison between Bind and Haven, because to me they were both maps that they were not ready to go specifically against Cloud9. They decided to not play the Bind, to go for the Haven, and every single result that they've had in this map has been so close, because they do not really understand in some moments of the round when to make those decisions, when to fall back, and especially with a team like Cloud9, every single round that the KRÜ even tried to save for the next one, Cloud9 is going to be on the hunt. They do not care. They want to destroy you.
It has been 3 months, though, since KRÜ last played this map. They've had some time to cook something new up if they wanted to change their composition, to come up with a new idea. And I'm sure that the team and their coaching staff had an expectation of Cloud9 wanting to take them there. Last time, they were playing that same Fade Raze composition with that support structure of the Breach and the Raze, but they were actually playing the Jet as their primary duels instead of that Raze. It's not a composition that I tend to be super much a fan of on this map, particularly when you are playing that Chamber. KRÜ can put that emphasis on the double contact, but I would be interested to see if they move away from that double contact setup and do maybe move over to the Rims.
All right, moving on now. As Prime Gaming Agent Select is about to pop up on our screens here, and we'll see what we're going to get from Cloud9 White and what could potentially be the answers from KRÜ. You can see what players have played in the past. We'll see what we end up getting this time around, Kukuka. Maybe we do get some changes for whatever reason from C9
I would like to see some surprises, but I think that KRÜ has invested their time into something. Oh, there it is.
They do make the change.
Okay. I like that, especially because I do not think that this is the kind of map where you need the 2 operators. You need a little bit more flexibility, and especially, I think that this is going to be a mirror. Okay, I like that. I'm very happy about that.
I'm interested to see if this changes the style that they play on this map. Previously, they put a lot of emphasis in kind of contacting extremities with Romy and getting her into corners and forward positions to hold space. I'd imagine they switched that over to their chamber player doing so, and instead of putting that emphasis on keeping that Raze Fade duo together to fight early for space in A lobby or outside towards grass with those combos.
I think that the way that this composition has evolved within every single region is the fact that you need the chamber because you need someone to be holding the angles, and you can leave one of the other extremities to just be defended by maybe the Omen and someone else, someone that can be on the fast rotation, like maybe, for example, the Breach, and just go in around that.
This is going to be a test of the mental. We'll have to see if KRÜ has recovered, if they can come back.
Totally.
Indeed, they can. All right, well, now it's time to jump into the action. Let's actually send it over. Quick Shot told me to call you guys Hypsy, I think. Hipsy.
Never trust Trevor.
Yeah.
That was your first mistake. You've already fumbled it terribly, GB. But no, we do need to then actually focus in on what we've got in front of us, right? Because this is now where things get a little bit of an issue, a little bit of a potential problem here for KRÜ, because they just got, no way to say it, slapped around on map 1.
Call a spade, yeah.
Got to be done. Map 2 is a safety net for Cloud9 White and has been for a while.
It is, and I want to, it's not something we usually touch on, but it's a concern that actually KRÜ start on the defense here, because we were just talking about this in between games. There's a little bit of a positive to take away that we only had a 4-round sample size from Ascent, but there were glimmers of hope, right? With the way they started and the comfort levels actually come out after getting slapped around in the first half, they actually come out swinging in the second. Haven does enable some defensive side aggression, a little more so than Ascent in my eyes, especially with this comp. So we're really going to test KRÜ early on here in the first half.
I want to see them come out and look with a fire lit underneath them. You don't want to go out whimpering in this game. Katsumi trying to bait the peak for Melt, and it's a little swing piece, a little, you know, flash and swing.
Actually, going to flash off this trap here that's placed deep in towards Rabbit, even as soon as actually they deal with it. I think Jazzy almost considering the possibility, and actually perfect, using the TP to dip away from that pinch play.
Such diligence using the chamber like that. Mel, lovely consideration, and there's the pinch. KRÜ not going to let it up though. They still had that consideration of what would come afterwards. Bob's found space, but found the wrong end of the gun there. Konsu going to take down Bob, and everything looking good, everything looking peachy for KRÜ. This is great stuff. Cloud9 struggling to find a way in, find that footing to go forward, and Konsu now needs to play the life and does eventually get found. Cross being watched, Kanea going to do well, does not need to overextend though. Can play patiently, wait for the support, gets a little ahead of the smoke. No, okay. Slows down the roll and they want another pick, and they need maybe 2 here. And that's what they're eyeing up. Not going to happen. Kalita going to find it, and Alexis has to face the music. Beautiful start for KRÜ, especially off that lovely technical piece from Mel. They're just going to get out of there, take the contact from the trap, but still, wonderful recovery from KRÜ.
Perfect read to know something was up. There's actually a trap play outside beat on the back of that trap, but again, right decision making from C9 White here as well, not committing to that plant. They needed another kill to make it a little easier. Recovery as well, actually not even noting the spike down there, potential. That spike to be left out in no man's land once that smoke did deplete, but KRÜ actually get themselves the first on the board here. Some of those positives, and actually see how many of these set pieces we have set up here for the defense. Again, Mel baiting out some of the utility, making use of that TP. So now wide potential here to try and build behind this early setup.
We've got the breach ready to crunch as well, so there might be commitment on this, and the Prowler does find connection. Romy now notes that there are players close by, actively in play. Potential pressure from Sewer, no. Gonna actually back away from this, but with Romy pushed up so deep, they are gonna know that no one's committing towards the long. You know, maybe someone's crossed towards Sewer potentially, but no, they have the player there. Kalita holding that down, so they should be well aware that no one's pressuring this right now. They've got to be careful because they've given up the B site. They are dependent on that one trap.
I'm gonna be pretty easy to retake mid here, especially with Romy's deep position towards Sandbag. So even if C9 White get in here, find this plant, KRÜ have the contingencies in place. You might even see the follow through A lobby, which we do yet. Immediately this pressure going to be applied. Katsumi.
Look at the pinch. Through Garage, 3 players on the other side. I really like this. That was a really nice idea. Katsumi goes down for it, but still, you got to see if they can hold on. Maybe make some more danger come through in a bit of a swing around about. Both sides flipping the script a little here, and Jazzy hitting a big shot. Needs another, may not get it here. Has to find it, not going to happen, and now no one's really on the spike. They got to get back there. They got to get back there and fast. And going to get it towards halfway, I believe. Paint Shell comes in, and Jazzy just putting damage down. And Mel's been waiting this whole time, patiently waiting. Does she get away with it? Oh, it's not the player she would have wanted. KRÜ keep 2. They get the defuse, and they get 2 on the board.
Damage done here, but that Vandal recovered. The Guardian actually in the hands of Kalita as well. Jazzy actually on that second kill, getting the reset for the Paint Shell. It's almost doable there for C9 White, but what a response. Anticipating that heavy retake towards mid and actually prioritizing Garage. C9 White actually pushing all the way onto C site.
It was like this
to find another kill.
It was so cool to see, and I like this. If you're willing to be aggressive, assertive, hold that dominance, if you're playing against Cloud9, he'll do similar things, so it looks very mirrored when they're both trying to take that critical space on the map, try and take that map control as they move forward. So we dive back in, and the buy round looking, well, I mean, it's tasty. Kanea's got the operator out already. Still have that Guardian in play, but it's not the end of the world. You're going to supplement that well with a couple of rifles around it. Flash towards middle, and Cloud9 White now put under pressure. First big challenge and the chance to fight back, at least. Rifles on board, a little bit of light light armor scattered throughout Bob, for example, Katsumi, and Jazzy here.
Saying much more tempered progress towards A lobby this time. A little bit of a switch up. So we'll be tasked. Actually, will catch. Shoulder peek from Mel here, and the smoke going to come down immediately. Going to invest the paranoia here just to slow things down. Actually, aftershock as well. Right away, C9 White looking to get back through. The TP available for Conair, lands the first shot. That's just not a safe TP.
No, it's not, but the paranoia just a centimeter off target to catch them on that. They could have maybe sprungboard towards it, but no. Note the other side of the map, though. Keep in mind, Romy has now pushed down towards A-Long. Bob is threading the needle well. Finds Kalita, does not expect the follow-up from Romy, who had already pushed down A-Long. We noted that a couple of rounds ago, so now they're going to be aware that's a possibility. It's learning as they go. 30 seconds now, no plant. Taking their time, pausing for thought, and now the plant's going to come in.
Numbers advantage here for KRÜ in the retake, though. Do have that operator. Well, Conair is going to be the one to take first contact. Actually anticipating some post-plant aggression here. Positioned very deep toward Beamy, and actually Conair going to find one.
Yeah, beautifully considered. Very well done. Noting the aggression, but not noting that Alexis bails him out with 2, bringing it back down to an even affair here. But again, it's that Guardian in play. It's so unaware. Katsumi beheads 2, and they get their first back on the board. Now, that was a fairly invested round from KRÜ. You could see that retake was starting to get some legs. I love that deep hold that you noted towards B there.
Yeah, and actually, beautiful response from Kalita. Actually, when that pressure comes through onto C site, and Conair has to TP away. Like I said, it wasn't a safe TP. It was actually set up for a second peek onto long. It's that TP on the top of default, but actually Kalita bails Conair out with that fault line. All the way from outside B, slows down that push from C9 White. Perfectly done, and actually coming into this KRÜ. I say with that operator invested in the previous. It's a judge and a couple of sheriffs to work with here. I think mid will be the focal point once again. Concert, yeah, Jazzy just missing that initial peak here. Boobot will go through, be dealt with regardless.
Well, Judge is ready to go. Perfect place for it, perfect timing for it. That's 2. Kalita cuts down Cloud9 White, and that's rifles now on the ground. These are recoverable as well. This was a gamble, though. It does have a downside, not able to control that A-Long push-up, so they will be surrounded. But Kalita still going to find the timing, get the rifle, get the upgrade, and get the hell out of danger, but still they've got to be aware they had no long control. A little tunnel vision there, and now problems start to mount. Cloud9 White taking over the site, and Alexis and Jazzykins, perfect unison, making this dangerous.
I was going to note there, whether or not Alexis and Bob can get deep enough to catch this rotation. And they're looking to push through. Jazzy and Alexis might even catch Konsu all the way deep in spawn here. Next information relayed. Do they follow through on this? Potential here for Romy to retrieve a weapon. Yes, Vandal in hand now. Positioned in short. We test the diligence once again of C9 White.
They've got to have noted there was, 2 rifles lost there. They've got to be aware of where these weapons were left.
Safe plant, it's noted, yeah.
Yeah, they're very aware there's a chance that someone slipped through here.
Ultimate available now for Alexis as well. So they can pressure one way or the other.
Let's look at this post plan. Committing a little towards CT still. Jazzy feeling a little unsafe as to where to sit. Not going to sit towards Graffiti or the Cubby. You've got Romy now taking that room. Building up unawares, and the crossfire going to get broken down. That's Alexis gone, and now Jazzy in the 1v2. Finds the first and looks for the follow-up. Still the pain shell to play if they want it. The time ticking in their side, but there's going to be a push off of the spike. Potentially can't sit that no more. 50 seconds in the clutch for Jazzy. Beautiful, beautiful work. The Red Bull clutch coming in here after that got deadly off the back of a judge.
No stone left unturned. C9 White, like I said, the awareness of some potential that somebody had got themselves back through to shore. Great start from Kalita, like I said, just not anticipating this initial progress from Alexis and Bob all the way onto A side. Like I said, even trying to get ahead and catch that rotation as the reinforcements come through for Kalita. Beautifully done. And the atmosphere starting to change on stage as well.
Say though, that was a purchase with not too much behind it from KRÜ. Now they've got the rifles out. Now they've got the ultimate starting to cycle through. This is the one that can get interesting. And Romy right back to business, trying to be a problem, be a nuisance, be a saboteur.
I was going to say, did I know actually Conair popping the tour de force as well? Position all the way on short, but Bob's found the headshot.
That's a banger. That's why you're on Bob.
In range of the TP as well after that first shot. Conair looking to hang around, stand her ground.
Oh, Kalita, this is the poison chalice waiting. Kalita, they're gonna know you're there this time, but still wins the fight. Mel gets punished and now takes over some control, but the speed up towards A-Long. They're waiting for no one. That site is theirs, and instantly you can see the wrap coming in. Jazzykins wants to clear through sewer. Big indicator, they've already potentially pushed towards Long, so red alert should be called.
I think noting actually that Kalita has the Rolling Thunder, a huge tool now to employ from Long onto site.
And here comes that pinch coming in. You can see all that pressure. Romy is there, flies on through, sends it, gets it! Jazzy gone down, but the trade comes in. Bob finds it right on back, and Romy almost behind enemy line, still needs to clear these players out of position. And Bob is the immovable, still standing, takes down Beige. And Romy, where has that just come from? The 1v1! And Bob, too cold with it.
What a round though. The response, the Rolling Thunder immediately to try and cancel out. Like I said, Kalita making the absolute best decision in that scenario. And even actually Jazzy following through with the showstopper, anticipating that Rolling Thunder being employed. What a round to watch back.
Face your fear!
I think Mel even had a stinger here. I've just caught off guard here with the timing. The headhunter in hand, but what a cleanup from C9 White. Romy made this into, yeah, definitely made this into stint. Bob just repositioning ahead of the curve, maybe not considered.
And I think regardless of how the scoreline continues to kind of unfold, for me, this is actually the best look we've seen from KRÜ yet. This is way more aggressive, way closer, way more fought for, and again, the pressure mounting towards that A site. TP taken and a 3-man play coming out through C Long, but again, they are working with Sheriffs. It's bits and pieces, and that judge just ain't finding the footing it did before.
This time, great awareness as well from Katsumi to know that these holds on A are generally quite deep, posted up. Bob actually noting 2 on the flank here. Let's have Mel in support here. Connor unnoted as of yet. We're going to be slowed down here with a fault line as well.
And just steps into it. Bob, no respect, he does get punished for that. Push towards CT with a one-way, still being kept somewhat safe. But the threat sign amount a little. Romy gone down this time, and now the final 3, 2 potentially noted and 1 to be considered in CT. If they can exit with these weapons, that would be ideal. Katsumi left on guard duty, does eventually go down, trade comes out, and Kalita, nothing to do but die.
I think initially here you can see the game plan from C9 White when this presence isn't shown with utility, the fault line doesn't come through, the reveal, the C's, the paint shells, anything like that, they're happy to apply pressure. They know it's going to be a deep hold based on contact. So Katsumi just TPing all the way into backside. C9 White have absolute freedom to take control on A.
One enemy remaining.
I see maybe the utility combo. You can see a little setup towards that A lobby.
See immediately the response here from KRÜ is to actually stack behind, maybe put some of this utility. Exactly.
There it is. Now, I wonder what this change is. Actually going to reveal the intent of pressuring. They had started to consider the Romy's presence, and Romy's in danger. Romy might be dead here, absolutely. The counter utility and the counter play to try and take that long control is perfect. Takes a lot of util, sure, but it actually gets you a step towards the site and gets you the body down, which is Romy gone.
In terms of rotation time, it's so important to find that uncontested first blood on Haven. Forces the hand of the defenders.
Oh, they're trying to take this back a lot. It's quite brave to try and take this space back towards sewer, keep some sort of the map on their side. And Mel going to work off the back of the boombot as well. Give away 1, the second is there, Mel. Stunning work. That's now the side looking very vulnerable. It's all theirs.
I mean, it's a great setup. It's just absolutely ripped apart by C9 White. Even by dealing with that room, but still no position to find a kill. Both dug out by Mel. Actually, with that operator once again. Konsu, yes, rifle in hand, but it makes that retake even more difficult. A little bit of a bankroll starting to develop for C9 White as well. They do go hunting here. Opportunities 3 members above 2,000 credits. Mel even actually with that tour de force to offset any future purchase as well. Towar's on the way through, but C9 White will retreat back towards A lobby.
Starting to get that rhythm down though.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to really read the setup over towards the A site. feeling out the different looks over towards A long, especially the utility combo coming in early, but the counter being perfect, coming out from C9 White, crunching towards it. And that early punish on Romy, you're in no man's land. You can see on the minimap where they got caught. It's very hard to do much about that. There's no middle ground there. You are truly in no man's land. So I do want to see what the next adaptation from KRÜ now comes out.
I mean, hoping the timeout comes. So we saw a real pace change on Ascent coming out of that initial, I think round 5 timeout it was. Just a little different with KRÜ getting on the board a bit earlier here, but Connor, like I said, holding on to the operator. A Guardian will come through, a couple of light shields here, but KRÜ will scrape together a purchase. Beisht and Khonsu, who have ultimates available to play with. See on the flip side,
bring them down.
Bob does have Nightfall as well. Well, this is the one for me that will break the money and allow C9 White to develop even bigger gap here in terms of the round score. It's Matt Romy not going to have the showstopper either. Connor a million miles away from that tour de force. Khonsu getting curious though. Counter Nightfall here, but lots of information on the side of C9 White. Gonna read that there's a 3-player stack once again towards A. We're seeing Kalita potentially scramble to find this rotation ahead of the curve. Ahead of this audible from C9 White.
Yep. Should at least
Perfect
get
fault line as well.
Yeah, able to get the players in the right place. But by now they have to respect that the site is won. But look at the aggression from Mel coming out as well. Over claiming territory, gonna push right on through, and you can see as to why. Full faith in the utility set into motion, it's all theirs. The B site and the connector towards A is secured. Romy on the flank though, punishing Bob this time. There's still a chance of this pressure. It's such a long way back by the time they'd get there, and look at the way C9 are posturing. They're still willing to challenge it.
I know that brings it to a 2-3 for C9 White. Jazikin's gonna cancel out that advantage immediately against the operator. As retaking onto B site. Probably the hardest to try and find an entry back through with, but Connor actually swapping out to the rifle, and it pays dividends.
Katsumi, have you been noted? Have you been considered? That's a first and a second! So sharp! So quick! Katsumi is having a performance as well. From map 1 to map 2, still so solid.
Connor didn't even get a chance to bait with the TP. Literally immediately removed. And that's the 6th in a row for C9 White, as it almost breaks the bank here for KRÜ, puts them back in recovery mode. And a huge stack built up now. The tour de force as well, just to make that even worse in the hands of Mel. So KRÜ need to do real damage here, almost need to win this round.
Something that very much learned quickly in the lead up to this, the first time I really got to cast Cloud9 White, is that, you know, the post plants, their retakes are stunning.
So aggressive, like you said, happy to continue digging deeper and
almost
deeper
too
and
much
deeper.
to a fault there. They, you know, a different team could have been punished on that, but apparently they have full faith in, I think it was Katsumi and Jazzykin's left alive, but this time warded away. So early damage done, and there's the response. Greater damage achieved from Mel there, taking down Kinnear, the opposing number.
3 more to find here on A site though. I think maybe a different indicator that it's Kinnear to swing through from sewers. But 1 more member was noted on default. Actually, that's why we see Jazzykin's down to 5 HP. I think actually, yeah, big indication that Beisht actually sends through some utility. So should read that there's actually bodies behind this.
And do they stay patient? Do they get curious? What happens to the cat, and the smoke drops, and actually it's Romy to come out the better of that. Mel gonna get quickly caught up by it. The 4v4, but again, no rifle to be recovered.
Away, though. Look at the minimap. Khonsu's backed away to try and find a safer angle to play from.
Oh, this is such a it's such a good fake. Even if it's not a fake, you have to pay mind to what Bob's about to do. You still have to put a player towards it. Maybe Bob's going to back away from this, and Katsumi read it like a book. Page is left open, and Khonsu goes down. The site's all theirs. With 13 seconds, yes, it's a little dangerous, but it's fine.
10 seconds
Taking down that one player they know Khonsu has been playing on that site. They know what they've done. Got the plant, and they're safe.
I think actually even initially with Mel showing presence with the tour de force, they don't even consider recovering this rifle on A long.
Yeah.
So actually Romy and Beisht coming through just with the sheriffs. Showstopper if things become feasible, but with this fault line, it's going to slow things down once again. Paint shell ahead of it, it's just, it's picture perfect from C9 White.
Jazzy might get contact on this, could be a little bit in danger because of that, just low HP. Yeah, Beisht First one to fall. Jazzy, 5 HP, apparently more than enough. Bob there in support, and it's looking quite clean. I need to see a timeout now from KRÜ. Needs to happen fast, because right now Cloud9 White are just steamrolling. That momentum's in their side. You know, this is looking very clear-cut for them.
Like I said, almost coming through with that one. That would have given KRÜ the extra chance of one more buy round. And there's a reason I'm saying that previous round was so crucial towards making this first half interesting.
KRÜ have hit that timeout button, which is pretty critical, I think, to the rest of this game. If they close out the rest of the rounds, fantastic. If you're just tuning in, though, we have to then put this in context for you. The 2 rounds were the pistols. And if we talk about it when we go to champs, when we go to masters, we talk about it now. We always weight the gun rounds heavier. If you're looking better in the gun rounds, of course, the buy rounds, we will look at that with huge amounts of adoration, but in this, sadly, it's only the 2 pistols, and it has been more competitive. There has been way more threats, way more danger. We wanted more aggression. We got it. KRÜ are looking way more of a challenge, but it's not converting to rounds still. That
clutch factor tested a few times here on Haven already in the first half that we didn't really see in Ascent, honestly. No. C9 White were just, I gotta say, worlds apart in terms of on a macro level what they showed on Ascent. Here, they are being tested, but they're still scraping round victories through. So coming out this timeout, we want to see the same thing, right? It was almost rejuvenated in the first half in terms of the approach to some of the rounds. They just didn't find success. Well, KRÜ now can switch things up.
I'd be interested to see what KRÜ look like if they explore the rest of the map a little bit as well. Try and maybe... I say explore the rest of the map. It has been hard to try and do that.
There's still that fear to try and get behind C9.
Yeah.
You know, try and find space else. We've seen Konsu explore towards C long, but there was no real push through here. But this is totally different. Romy, all the way down mid here, does have that support system in place from Bice to maybe take contact. And C9 White actually for the first time set up elsewhere on the map.
But the problem is, coming out of a timeout, you kind of expect to switch up, don't you? So you're
Which is why C9 White have slowed down. Yeah. Exactly.
And you're already hearing that utility coming out from Fade against you. You're kind of considering why they're investing that towards middle. That normally indicates there's maybe aggression behind it. You're starting to already decipher what they're up to. So I'd be quite interested to see if Cloud9 approach it in that way. Maybe just taking their time here. Patience going to pay quite nicely for them if they do manage to work it out. Kinnear, this could be the test. 3 players on your way.
I was going to say, Connor didn't have that first TP set up. Revealed on the second. I said not a safe TP once again. It was for a re-peek onto long. Now, actually, whether or not any audio cues are going to be given away, this is where Romy's position becomes very, very important. And that's it. You can see Romy relaying that information now, but Bob almost catching her off guard. Romy still wins it.
Big shot there coming in, but the pressure on towards the side's already mounting, but they already know what's coming their way. Konsu with a big double, finds Jazzy, gets Alexis down, and brings us back to maybe somewhere they can fight from. A 2v2 with a post plant, but Katsumi and Mel still standing.
Still got the paranoia to work with. Mel down to 30 HP though. An open plant towards long. C9 White just going to stack up as 2 here. Maybe waiting for that cooldown to be available for base, but it's the operator that's going to be the big question mark in this retake once again.
Trying to
find the first one, yeah.
But it takes so much time up, right? This is the problem. Costs you so much there. It is finally going to come out. Horn goes in, finds nothing, right? You got to go. You had to have gone about 10 seconds ago, but you had to make the seconds count clear, close. They're going to get it at least towards half now. And the TP taken, they ain't stopping. No fear shown, and the paranoia actually catching. And that is where the issues really stopped any of that pressure coming back through. The paranoia just clipping, I think it was Mel there, and stopping to be able to even see the defuse.
Yeah, Connor just cool as anything, sticking that through. You can see it in the TP. Causes a little bit of panic for C9 White. A little bit of a fumble there in the post farm, but who get their third on the round. Again, C9 White comfortable to purchase through to the end of this. Beautiful hold initially, though. Now C9 White even dig through. Yeah, you can see.
Just clipped him.
Unfortunate sequence of events there. So operate, actually, rotate across towards mid here for KRÜ. Connor going to have a much deeper hold. Fault line will go through, noted by Konsu. Yeah, just trying to find Jazzy on that orb. That would actually give Jazzy the showstopper. Be able to pave the way onto C site here. Yeah, Konsu gotta respect this. Gotta give it up.
Okay, so that should be the passage paid, the ultimate price. Plant comes in, and the site's theirs. Post plant's looking interesting as well. They still have that player sitting deep towards B, all the way down the middle. That's gonna be Melt. Tuck towards it. Got
How
Bob on the
late
case
Romy
as well.
is on this flank.
Very patient on the way through. Pressure on the site now, so let's see how long they linger around here. See if they get that timing right on the back lines. That is going to be a curious battle, because surely Mel's not considering this now. Surely the timing window could be devastating, actually, if she gets it right. Yeah, she does. Kinnear's gone down, and now there's a problem. Mel behind them, behind the wire, and Mel closing in now. Don't do it to him. Just get the job done. And still there is that unknown quantity of that one player on the flank, but Mel on the site is just completely unfazed, and Romy is a day late to the party.
I want to be so cautious of where Mel is lurking, right? Where she's positioned. It takes so long. And Mel actually finds that timing perfectly onto Garage. I think almost KRÜ are anticipating that flank to come through much earlier. That's why Romy's in that position in the first place. Beautifully done. Even to find the second here onto KonSU. Catches a flying Kalita up into the cubby. Beautifully done by C9. Showing confidence on the other side of the map, the focal point being A for the majority of this half.
I'll find you.
Oh, maybe found a point of weakness there. I mean, forcing the issue here. KonSU with a stinger in hand, actually going exploring, rewarded for it, but three staring down the smoke behind that.
That's brutal. Now, it's not just Romy this time. There's Beisht here as well, so maybe a little bit more pressure on the backline could alleviate some of those issues, but Mel seemingly all too aware in the site once again, going very favorably for Cloud9 White. The three players now dedicated towards it. You already got that swing back through from Beisht going up towards Garage, and Mel's timing could work out once again.
So much time and space to just sit on this angle with no pressure coming onto site just yet. Mel might even catch the retreat.
Nice.
Romy sharp to it, though.
Much better. Now let's give them a chance. There's no threat in the back lines, no more dagger in the back, no more knife looming above their head. The flash gets turned and Jazzy still fine, does get noted, tries to get out of danger and does just that. The post plant still going to be hard work. Now we saw last time there is no fear on these players. They're going to sit the defuse and finally the trade comes out. It's still going well for KRÜ. And now it's Katsumi in a 1v3, half achieved and overwhelmed and overrun. It ain't over yet, it's 4 rounds.
Beautiful retake here from KRÜ, and actually with KonSU falling early, C9 White know that they can sit deep on long, try and use this time and space to set up comfortably for that. But the paint shell from Romy absolutely ripping away that control. Onto Cubby, and as you see Jazzy just panicking with that blast pack to get out of there.
And this is a much better look from KRÜ in my book. I like seeing the aggression. I like seeing the confidence. They've given themselves a buffer. It's not massive, but it may be something, and they need something right now. Do stay tuned.
All right, well, gotta say, you know, good to see KRÜ at the very least, right, staying competitive. This is a very different game than what we saw in map number 1, Mimi. Cloud9, though, still look fantastic, but I think that win as well as the pistol, like, that kind of, I think it helps them out a little bit here.
Yeah, they're staying competitive, but Cloud9 is still winning, and I think that's exactly the story of this first half. There's a round I wanted to look back at here, which is where we're seeing some of these good ideas come out from KRÜ. We're seeing them come up with ways to be able to counter out Cloud9, but Cloud9's ability to adapt in the late round has been absolutely excellent. This one is an example. There's a breach actually flanking back through Cloud9's spawn, who pops up the breach ult. Romy double satchels all the way deep and gets that showstopper kill onto Jazzy. Cloud9 is separated. 2 players are stuck in hell in a 2 versus 3, but they stand strong. Bob knows she has to make that aggressive play and be able to close things out. It does end with just Bob being here as Romy has picked up big things, but she's going to be able to win out on this clutch. This is a round where KRÜ has an interesting idea. They're hitting those win conditions, but still it slips away from them from some of these big plays and adaptations from Cloud9 at the final hour.
This final bullet to me, it kills me. Sunset everything that C9. I agree with you. They were struggling a little bit in the late round, but it took them 2 to 3 rounds to know exactly what to do at the beginning of the round. Now, looking forward into what can we expect, right? Coming to KRÜ, knowing that you have to pull this back, that you've only managed to get those kills. I wanted to take a look at the kills that Kinnear usually has on the attack. It's actually a map that allows us to see how the impact is going to be, especially on A, that sometimes she's going to be guarding the flank, expecting people to be pushing onto them, but she's also going to be sitting on site after the spike is down.
Yeah, we've seen step-ups from Romy. We've seen step-ups from the members of this crew roster. Yeah. But I think if they are going to be able to bring this back, it really does have to be that fixation on Kinnear, as she's playing her favorite role on this map.
Yeah, well, look, I'm excited to see if KRÜ can actually bring this one back, because if there's a team that can dig deep and make this happen in the moment, force this map 3, it most definitely could be this KRÜ esports lineup. But let's go ahead and get into our second half of play as we send it back to our casters to call the action.
Thank you, GB and the desk. And as much as, yes, a couple of players stood out coming to this, Kinnear being one of them, I'm looking at Romy again. Yeah. Considering, if you're looking at marking your man, right, you have to try and slip past Mel, who is having a stellar map at being that lurk, being that problem, still being able to post, what, 15 kills first half? Not bad at all. And I want to see KRÜ do damage now, not just in the pistol, throughout the gun rounds.
When we're making that kind of comp comparison on Ascent, we were talking about Romy potentially being the catalyst. Absolutely has achieved that here on the defense. Maybe not reflected in terms of round success just yet, but coming into the attacking side, where we talked about some of those positives that were there. We didn't have a huge data size to compare on Ascent. This time, there's at least a chance for KRÜ to follow through on that first half performance.
Well, one of the players will be Katsumi, who's been stellar and seems to want to keep that reputation looking good. Alexis is going to take most of the attention there and overwhelmed in the end, but Bob makes appearance towards the back of the site and still steals... Ooh, I thought he was about to steal 2 more there, but no, it's just going to be a bloodied brawl. Cloud9 White coming out on top with 2 players remaining. And going to at least get past that first hurdle, that first challenge.
Great play from Alexis as well. The counter utility coming out, the flash and the fault line to slow down KRÜ. Bail out Katsumi, even puts her life on the line. And then Katsumi actually responds with the kill as well. Beautiful stuff. The 9th on the board for Cloud9. And actually 4 Spectres, the scope. For Mel, a couple of Sheriffs. Now we talked about actually a couple of gaps in that round 3 purchase previously because of the investment from KRÜ. Well, that's going to be a factor here once again on Haven. I'm going to just rinse and repeat here, try and find something onto C-side. Katsumi will be tested once again. 4 players shift walking up here.
See if that patience can hold. And Katsumi,
big paranoia.
That was perfect. It's just slowed everything down and even isolated Bashed. Alexis will claim it, but the job's done. They've instantly hindered that pressure that was coming towards C-Long, and now they're going to send them looking for other options, right? Has there been an over-rotation? Do we have a chance somewhere? You got early progress from Konsu. Maybe they can take a little bit more space towards allow that passage to come through quickly from that spike.
I see Konsu potentially catching a timing here. It's already Mel just ready and waiting. Just in case, actually, yeah, Mel will note it. Smoke will go up, but still might, with the numbers advantage here, happy to rely on their retake. Bob actually lining up for a reveal here.
Their retakes that I saw before leading into this tournament were out of this world.
So well rehearsed.
Percentage-wise, it is choreographed. So I'll be very interested to see how this looks now going in.
Big
Already
reveal.
Big info. That's huge, but can they build off the back of it? They need to get towards the site here and flying on in. Jazzy, life on the line. The trade could be coming in. There it is. Mel, Katsumi, Alexis, all in unison, leaving Romy the last one alive. 1v4, defuse started, smoke in place, and 2 out of nowhere.
Back.
And the paint shell back into play. Going to do some chip damage, force Katsumi into a bad scenario. 1 more bullet to play with, and sweating them on the other side. But plenty of time for the defuse, but it got dangerous.
I mean, it's only actually that Cloud9 White are in position to retake this so early that actually Romy doesn't get another opportunity to close it out. Lots of damage done, though. Just 2 weapons carried away from that for C9. That's a massive reveal coming through and just swarming onto site. It's totally blind.
He's starting to feel a little bit of that pressure now. At 4 to 10, you do see that they've hit those double digits. Now, it is only the pistol, so put it where you want. This is the big buy coming out from KRÜ, and it's got to be clean in my book. I want to see at least 4 standing. I want to see those rifles brought on through. I need to see this round look sewn up. On the other side for Cloud9, they have very little in the form of firepower.
I mean, they know that ultimately they can ride this out. Whatever they can achieve in this round, they don't want to give away the opportunity of any financial advantage here. Early probe towards C. Katsumi and Alexis with a much deeper hold this time around. Katsumi obviously on a Sheriff. Alexis with a Spectre in Garage. Initial probe, and KRÜ will pivot back towards 8.
They're going to repick this together. Okay, off the back of the Prowler, gets dealt with quite quickly. So Mel knows they've made progress up a long, takes a swing, and gets punished for it. Romy, good work. That's first in.
Actually, Bob repositioning back towards Heaven.
Still waiting.
Look for this reveal. Clip it, that's the reveal. Bob actually rewarded for it as well, but Romy's found another 2. Jazzy and Katsumi will fall.
Yeah, this is good work, but again, we're talking about keeping this clean. They have the 4 rifles still standing. They do not want to lose a single other one.
Problem being, though, in this post plant, it's going to be very difficult to find value. Romy's actually very close and actually giving one away.
And that could be a rifle to be picked up. If they ever find a way to get a little bit more safety towards it, that could be a rifle back in the hand. And Kalita looking like they want to play towards Graffiti. Going to tuck in the corner.
Connor just caught sleeping. And the rifle retrieved here.
And there it is. This is where it all could fall to pieces. You've got to look at that player in towards the corner. Kalita here, tucked on the corner, has to pay off, and it does. Takes away Alexis from this, and Bob now on the chopping block, dealt with, but it's costly. It's not as clean as I'd like, but they get across the line.
Spike planted, yeah, so they have that 300 credit bonus. I think that might be able to just scrape through light armors and rifles yet. Just about. I mean, basically going to be the only one that's struggling here, but a weapon dropped across. KRÜ find their 5th. I might draw blood, but this is the one that actually, again, it just shifts around behind. Like I said, Romy giving this one away. The only real thing that causes problems for KRÜ here is, like you said, if they can find one, bring it back down to, you know, maybe just a 1-head advantage, and that rifle being recovered.
And this is the one. This could start great things for KRÜ.
Same probe once again towards C site as well. And last time, I mean, Mel and Bob didn't progress down long, but this time Mel's hanging around with the operator.
Yeah, it's sticking here, trying to maybe bail Bob out, but
Revealed
Bob can't get out
both.
of danger. Yeah, Bob is stuck to this one. Any damage that she can do? How is Bob alive?
What was that? 3 HP.
How? Someone's looking after C9 White. I do not know how she is still alive. Katsumi trying to slow down the roll, and actually the counter quite nice here. Katsumi's still fine. One slipping through towards the site, and actually Kanea's got to be careful. And does Katsumi consider it? Maybe thinking about it. Damage achieved. Standing and fighting. Katsumi sprays into the dark and claims 2. Alexis expecting the pressure through from Garage. They're sewing this one up. Beige, lovely shot. Needs 4 more of those.
Oh my God. What
Give me
was
that one more
round?
time. I want to see that.
That was ridiculous from Bob.
How?
Again, the reveal. Mel's desperate to try and deal with the operator. I'm not sure if Bob was actually blinded ahead of that. You can see the near side had come through.
It looked like she was, yeah.
This is outrageous. What?
How?
I think Katsumi as well, the adjustment here to find Connor, who slipped onto site, the second completely blind onto Kalita, and smiles on the faces. That's the 11th on the board for C9 White. KRÜ back down on a garbage buy here, just pistols to work with. No showstopper, invested in the previous, and no tour de force. With this composition, those are the things we look to rely on in this sort of purchase.
There's reliable elements absent. And B pressure.
Look what C9 White are doing now on C-Long.
And there's certain markers in the game, right? You get past that first gun round, you keep some of those ultimates away from them, then you can start exploring. Then these are the rounds you can start stretching your legs a little bit here, taking walks around the map, finding backline pressure like they're doing. And maybe KRÜ are aware, but they're just not equipped. Just going to be those sheriffs and odds and ends and bits and pieces, and it's just a massacre again. 3 bodies littered on the floor, Spike now down. And this is looking brutal. And only the Ghost and Sheriff to take the stand, and the poor of utility.
So much utility.
Look at it, just raining in, and Romy, it felt inevitable, and it's clean, and it's 12. 5 stand, 5 move forward, and only 5 rounds for KRÜ.
Not letting their foot off the gas at all, maintaining this level of pressure. KRÜ unfortunately just left licking their wounds. Bice now, Nightfall available. So some of these positives we talk about just haven't come to fruition here in the second half.
No. They didn't have much time to work it in, though.
No.
This is the other thing.
I said a slight advantage on the first map's result.
Yeah, it's difficult because at the very worst, you know that C9 White have that solid approach to the game. They've got great fundamentals, so even trying to find that little bit of space to work within it is minimal, it is limited, and it looks all in. It looks pacey towards A. Not much of a backline to depend upon here, so they do need to somewhat commit. Yes, they can leave maybe Kinnear to keep a consideration towards that, keep that in mind for a little while, but it's going to be Mel very much alone. How long do you stick around here? Going to be found by the Prowler, and eventually will concede the site. Oh, actually, Alexis is stuck around, right out of the air. Mel's there too, and it is a shot down and a shot out. You've even got the ult coming as well. Jazzy Kins with a double. It's 13-5. Cloud9 White proving exactly why they are the team to beat.
Another round where Robbie, just got to mention, just plucked from the air once again, just getting no success here after a very, very strong first half for C9 White, barely breaking a sweat. Once they found their groove once again, we saw the same trend on Ascent. Actually, looking at the scoreboard, a real testament here to Robbie's performance, desperately trying to put KRÜ in a position to succeed here on Haven. But the team unit, that core from C9 White, just excelling here in their opening game in Berlin.
Yeah, fantastic look coming out from C9 White, proving the Lanimals are here. They are very solid. Some of those same looks we've seen online coming through here into this offline environment, in front of the crowd, different setups, still looking solid. And again, KRÜ coming out of their region, we did consider them a very strong team.
Yeah.
And honestly, some of the previous roles leading into this, they had cleaner games against some of the other North American teams, leading into this tournament.
Yeah,
so
two teams that are revered in terms of their track records.
Absolutely.
But like I said, this is a statement to make for C9 White to come out against. In my eyes, this is probably one of the best opening matches we could have had in terms of the potential for upsets. This could alter the entire course, but it's business as usual for C9 White.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They should be very proud of this first real debut on the stage here. Looking solid as a rock, so fantastic look from them. For KRÜ, though, I mean, it's not all over just yet. There is still more to come. You probably had the hardest game to start with.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone envied that position.
And there were positives to take away. Like I said, there were glimmers of hope that if KRÜ were able to build behind that, the recovery factor from C9 White is ultimately what removed that possibility in my eyes.
Yeah, and I think, for me, I'm curious to see now how this shakes down with everyone else. Do we then see, I don't know, KRÜ play the next team and it looks completely different? They're the dominant team. Does that then completely shake up our expectation throughout this tournament? That's what it's all about. This is why we love these check-ins on the international stage. You finally get to see how these regions perform against each other.
Absolutely. And White obviously will go on to play later today. A good opening game here, big confidence booster, and like I said, you can see throughout this series just the personality starting to build on stage, getting a little louder, looking to command that arena themselves, not just in their gameplay, but like I said,
30 seconds left.
Audibly on stage. That's tough for KRÜ to really answer back on.
Yeah, and I think this then kind of plays into the rest of the games either coming up today or going forward, is because I think a lot of eyes then go on G2 now. I think that's a fair assessment, because they're the two teams a lot of people are looking at.
Ultimately, everybody now wants to see G2 replicate the same thing, right? Bring that kind of fire here to the stage in Berlin.
That's the thing, and then maybe you get that big matchup, potentially, who knows? I mean, that's what we're kind of all considering, but as we said, throughout, there was a couple of standouts for us, but we want your thoughts. The MVP vote is down there, so do scan the QR code and let us know who stood out. Do you, Mike, anyone
Bob, obviously Bob and Alexis had fantastic, but Katsumi having such a huge start to Ascent and really being kind of, that second, third line in some of these executions for C9 White. Absolutely fantastic series from Kat.
No, I think I'm actually in full agreement with you. Normally, it's hard to ignore, Bob, scoreboard-wise, big impact here and there. She looked fantastic throughout it. Alexis as well, some really key moments, but you're right. I think especially including map 1, I think you're spot on with that. A big performance to start off with. So that must be a great confidence boost that we're all turning up. So this is great news for the Cloud9 White fans. You guys will be absolutely chuffed with this result. The KRÜ fans probably waiting to see how everyone else in this tournament looks, because we're all still just checking in, finding out how these teams will finally perform. So guys, do stick around. We'll be back in a moment's time.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Living like and figure it out. We can do whatever, I just want you around. Tell it to the world when I don't pick up your calls. And if you're thinking something stupid, don't say nothing at all. Don't talk if you're not gonna say much. You could have something you don't like the taste of. Don't talk if you won't make it worth it. Did you get far before you hit the surface? Don't talk, and if you don't say something, I'm just gonna dig myself deeper. Wish I could have gone a little cleaner. And if you don't say something, I'm just gonna dig myself deeper. But most of us aren't good with that either. Don't talk if you're not gonna say much. You could have something you don't like the taste of. Don't talk.
Welcome back, everyone, to the VALORANT Game Changers Championship as C9Y pick up the win, only allowing their opponent KRÜ Esports to pick up 9 rounds total across 2 maps. A truly dominating performance for North America's finest here as I'm Golden Boy alongside with Mimi and Kukuka. And Kukuka, I mean, look, you know, you got to call a spade a spade. Everyone coming to this tournament is like, we don't know how people are going to play and, you know, so on and so forth. But it's very clear here that C9Y, they came to play, and in that game, they came to dominate.
They didn't come to play. I think they came to win, and definitely they showed up both in the attack and in the defense. I wanted to pull out this stat that it was shown for us. They only allowed KRÜ to plant 5 times during the entire series, and they retook on 3 of them. That is insane to say for a team. The dominance that they've shown in every single play, every counter play, all the utility was ready at all times.
And all the individuals were performing for Cloud9, but KRÜ showed up too. That was a much better game out of them. Oh, yeah. Romy was giving moments it looked like KRÜ could come over top, but it was the calling for Cloud9 and the coordination that this team had that really impressed me. This round in particular, you can see the synergy, the experience that these players have together. KRÜ breach ults in immediately. Cat sends out a Paranoia. You have a Rolling Thunder coming in to support her from Alexis in Garage, and as well as that, Jazzy is coming out, has a nade to separate, and at this point, KRÜ is separated off on the site. Cat has a 1v1 versus Kinnear, and she can just hold space over towards long. Cloud9 was so coordinated in this game, and on top of that, the calling from Mel was fantastic.
Yes.
At the start of that game, they thought the solution to this Fade Raze comp was putting an emphasis on that B site, on holding that down and going for those executes. Then they figured out that, hey, we can just bait out the C's nade every time and get our way into the site. It's such good work from Cloud9.
How important it is to just come into a LAN event like this and having this big performance right at the beginning. Sometimes, you know, we feel like maybe for Crew they were a little bit cold at the beginning. We can definitely say that for Ascent. But as you mentioned, Mimi, to me, every single player in Cloud9 has outperformed the performance that they were doing already in NA. You know, of course, you know, I acknowledge the power that they have. I wanted something different from other regions, but I'm actually very happy to see that they take the competition to another level. To me, I know that Hypox said that Katsumi is insane. To me, Alexis did an insane series, something out of this world.
You can see it in how they do their retakes. It just looks like a performance. It looks like they are... every person has just the exact lineup. They have rehearsed it. They have prepped it. And I think that that is, you know, that on top of many other reasons why C9Y are coming into this tournament as the odds-on favorite. But, of course, there's still plenty more to come here. We actually did ask you guys before the break, though, about the in-zone player of the match. We want to hear from you guys who you think it is. And Katsumi is going to end up being the one getting the MVP nod here. Mimi, you know, got to give shout-out to Katsumi because she was playing out of her mind.
She really was. I think she started something like 8-0 on the first map of this series and really kept that performance throughout.
To me, it's the fact that it's the supportive agents that we're seeing shining the most. What really shines also about C9 White is that you have 5 superstars. They can perform at any given moment, especially when necessary. So I'm happy for Katsumi.
Yeah, she really does deserve that MVP vote win. Jazzy as well in that last game really did step up playing that Raze. You can see how much value she provides when she's on the comfort role. Even though she's the youngest player on the team, even though she's the most experienced, no one on C9 looked shaky in the slightest coming into their first big LAN. They've played smaller events before, but this was something different for them, and they really showed up.
Yeah, I think that is a very important note there as well. It's that the moment C9 White took the stage, it looked like they were confident. It looked like every angle, every position that they were holding, everything was from a position of confidence. That's very scary for everyone else.
Yeah, of course. And you have that performance on the first map. As we said, every single round had a plan and they just followed it. And it's working. And it's working. You jump into the second one. Okay, you lose the pistol round. But then on the gun rounds, you start getting them. Almost all of them go in your favor, and you know that you have the upper hand. You know that you're, directing the ship.
And I think that Crew actually did regain their confidence throughout this series. In the first map, it was clear that the mental was one of the issues. Their players were very shaky. I think some of the nerves were showing through. But once we got into that second map, a lot of the confidence was reinstilled. They still weren't able to take down Cloud9, but that does give me some hope for their path in the lower bracket. This isn't a game that I walk away from thinking Crew isn't living up to the expectations I had for them. It's that Cloud9 is showing up and looking just as good as they were in North America.
Yeah, it is very scary for the rest of the world. They have certainly been put on notice. But to hear from the winners, here's Ender actually going to be standing by with the one who blew up the end of that last game. It's Jazzy standing by for our Verizon post-match interview.
Yeah, Golden Boy blew it up with that signature Raze. I am here with Jazzykins. And first of all, congratulations on the win, 2-0. A lot of people have you as favorite, so it's a great way to start the event off. And I just want to ask, I know you've been to some smaller LAN events here before with the team as well, but do you have any sort of pre-game rituals, things to get you and the team in the zone for the match?
For me, at least, I love blasting music, so that's what I do. I'm sure a couple of my teammates do the same.
What's your favorite track?
Shoot.
Or genre even?
Genre, like hip-hop.
Okay, I like that. Now, you guys got off to a great start, 9-0 over on Ascent. So I'm curious, like, obviously you got to be feeling confident after that. Were there any players on the team that were a little extra talkative or over-the-top energy?
Mel, Lexi, you already know, like, they're the biggest talkers of the team for sure.
So. Alexis had some insane like rounds in that first map as well, and I would actually like to check out a round from that first map of Ascent because I don't know what was going on in this round. It starts off, I think you guys just sort of walked in, cruised into that A site, but then the calls coming out from Mel, I'd really just sort of like to pick your brain on that, and we're gonna be able to throw it up in this back wall in just a second here, and just sort of like talk me through this round because you go into this A site, there's a couple of mollies here, but then no one's really there. Why don't you actually plant the spike?
I think the call was to cancel, or right here, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they KJ ulted, so the call was to cancel and go B. But as soon as we got to Cat, we were like, okay, we're just gonna slow down, and then re-hit A, and then Cat was just going to be our lurker at that point. So.
Yeah. And so what was sort of your role in this situation here? I know you're sort of working through the team.
Yeah, so I have res, so my role was just to bait my teammates.
Perfect.
And I was just baiting Mel here. And yeah, like, yeah. If I have res, like I'm always baiting my teammates, so.
Yeah. I mean, understandable.
Yeah.
And then you get to be the bait going in
exactly.
on that
I'm usually the
final map.
entry fragger if I don't have res, so yeah.
Makes sense. Now, looking forward today, this is not your only best of 3 today. You're going to be playing after G2 and X10 matchup here in just a second. So I'd like to ask you, who do you expect to face off, and how do you think that match is going to go?
Honestly, like playing X10 would be fun, but I feel like we're gonna play G2 next. So,
yeah?
Yeah.
And how, I know a lot of people talking up Giuliano, Duelist on the other side. How's that matchup going down?
You know, it might be a Duelist diff.
Oh, okay. Okay,
we'll see though, we'll see.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get a chance to watch those games, crank the hip hop, have a lot of fun, and get ready for that. And we are gonna throw to a break and check out the Prime Gaming post-match highlights.
We've been waiting for this moment since the launch of VALORANT Game Changers. 8 teams have poured everything they have into this defining moment of their legacy. And all that's left is to seal the final chapter of their year. Let's see how it all plays out. And welcome to the stage, Cloud9 White and KRÜ Esports.
Dash comes in and the first swing. Stunning work from Katsumi, and even once more. Welcome to the stage, Cloud9. You're looking like you're at home. Alexis taking heads. What are you doing?
To anticipate this, but Alexis just swings out, finds all 3. 4 on the round for Alexis. C9 White close out Ascent.
There's going to be a push off the spike, potentially can't sit that no more. 50 seconds of the clutch for Jazzy. What are you doing? Mel behind them, behind the wire. Mel closing in now. Don't do it to him. Just get the job done. It's 13-5. Cloud9 White proving exactly why they are the team to beat.